Here, Dean78904. That is my handle. That hopefully will be atop some contest going down tonight on the Draftkings and the Fanduel as well. Joined today by Chopper of Heads, two-time millionaire winner. It's an intimate show, just the two of us. No Kirkwood. Kirkwood's still on his leave, obviously. Hopefully things are all well in his household and he's not getting too stressed out. Chop, I presume, how are you doing, Chop? And I presume you probably talk, you guys are boys. You talk to Kirkwood. How's you doing?
I'm doing well, Dean. Thanks for asking. I do talk to Kirkwood. No pun intended here, Dean. With this whole baby thing, he's still milking it. He could have done the show, dude. He's milking it, but that's okay. I forgive him. It's all good. But I don't know if he wants me to drop this big announcement, Dean. It's a big one. But Kirk Dees, he is back in the secret chat. He is back. He could not resist anymore. He begged his way back in. So
I submitted my name to be considered as a replacement, and I guess I was never really considered. But is all well in the secret chat now? Everybody's good.
I mean, that's up to those guys. Those guys that were bickering. I wasn't part of the bickering. I'm just a bystander. But now, this does not mean he's back on the college football train, because he just can't help himself. He keeps smarting off about my quarterback selection in college football. So I keep giving him another week probation, another week. So he keeps on blowing it, man. Can't help himself.
Well, he's demanding too much. He wants you to give him the perfect quarterback every single week, and that's just not possible, right? Because variance is a thing.
Also, yeah, and I mean, I don't want to brag, and I didn't tell him this because I don't want to make him feel bad, but we crushed the Prize Picks props last week. Now, it was hard to do DFS last week because there was so much chalk, and all the chalk hit. So you're not going to, it's just really tough to win like that. But you can always go to Prize Picks if the chalk is too heavy or things are going that direction. You can go to Prize Picks, and man, we crushed Prize Picks.
Where do I find the Prize Picks write-up? So they had scores and odds, or where are they at?
There's props out there, but actually there's a tool, Dean. It's brand new this year, college football, and they're going to have it for NFL too. It's the Prize Pick tool for NFL, or Prize Pick tool for college football if you have that package. But it's the projection guys marking down the difference in the Prize Pick props compared to where they're projecting the guys, yardage, touchdowns, reception, whatever the case may be. It's been pretty accurate. Then on top of that, I like to go in there with a little bit of I don't need projections. I can just look and go, oh, that number's way off. Let's hit that.
And how quick are they to move it? Because I remember playing Prize Picks for basketball for NBA. They were slow at first.
Super quick.
Oh,
you got to be quick on the trigger, man.
Okay.
And if you're going to get the good line. Now, you can, a lot of it's so off that, they might jump it up 5 yards on something. It still doesn't matter. But on the big stuff, like a touchdown. Yeah, you don't want to go from a half a touchdown to them putting it at one touchdown. Now you need 2 touchdowns to win. Something like that, you got to use your better judgment. But they move it pretty quick. But a lot of it's still, the yardage is still, it's college, man. It's not like the pros. Like when guys have big games in college, they throw for 500 yards. 20 yards isn't going to, from 280 to 300 is not really going to do a big deal most of the time. But yeah, it's fun. We're doing well out there, Dean.
Did I see on the schedule? Correct me if I'm wrong. I was looking at the schedule. I think it would have been for today or maybe the next month, just the beginning of course, NFL right around the corner. The OGs podcast, is that recorded? Is that going to record? Yourself, Noto, and Beer, I assume that's a thing because I feel like I saw it for Wednesday. Did I misread that? Am I making that up, or is that right?
No, we shot one today. Our first one was today. It's every Wednesday. Me, Notorious, and Beer Maker with the OG podcast. We coming back.
You getting the rust off, or was the first one a good episode, or what?
This one was just like getting back on the horse again after a year off. Let's just talk through some teams. No big deal. Yeah, but it's usually going to be on Wednesday afternoons. We're working on something, Dean, where you got this dang old Swolecast, they want to do theirs at the same time. So I don't know if we want to go live or not live. We're gonna have to work on the timing of it. I don't want to compete with Swolecast. Those guys
Who gets
are nice.
priority there? Who's higher up on the?
I think they've been around longer, and they probably have a bigger audience. They've got it's a very entertaining show. So I don't want to have to, but I don't want to have to make our constituents choose between the two. Let's just all get along here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can watch it on the replay. Is there any sort of like perk to watching it live? I guess you can interact. I suppose
you can interact in the chat, but yeah, it's on later on down the road. Watching it later in the week is fine too. It's all entertainment, Dean. I can't give you no winners on a Wednesday afternoon. I gotta be. It's got to be Sunday. I gotta make the lineups. I don't make lineups until Sunday. So,
you don't know who the best plays are 4 days before the game starts?
I do not, Dean. I do not have that. So I got to, if you want to catch the winners, you catch me on Sunday. Otherwise, it's all just entertainment.
Wait, are you doing stuff on Sunday for it? You usually normally take Sunday off, in my recollection. Are you on a show Sunday?
Oh, no. I take Sundays off, but I got to update my rankings. And, and if people shoot me, listen, I'm not conceited here, man. You shoot me a message on Sunday morning, I'm probably going to answer you unless I'm really deep in the weeds, man. But
ooh, you might regret saying that, Chop.
Nah, because I'll just change my handle and then nobody.
Everybody's got that friend. I'm sure you got that friend. You like ask you like this guy or that guy in their home league, like at 12:30, like 30 minutes before lock. Like you have that guy, right? Is he in your life? You know what I'm talking about?
For me, that guy would be my dad.
Yeah, it's like, Dad, you couldn't ask me this yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I got to hit the ignore button on the iPhone just like on Sunday mornings when it starts to get too like after like 10:45. I got to start hitting the ignore button.
Do you want to give a shout out to those in the chat, especially Derek? Derek finished 11th in the big solo shot last night. Your boy was up there too, and one of my lineups was. It's just weird how baseball goes. Like my two worst hitters, right, were Ohtani and Trout. I'm like, oh man, I got like 165 points, whatever it was. Ohtani and Trout, some other PMR. No, it's not minutes, PIR. I'm in the wrong sport. It's not basketball. It's not football. Innings remaining. But yeah, just sort of weird how that stuff works out. And, Ohtani was okay, I guess. Trout was a disaster. And that's how baseball goes sometimes. Who else is in the chat? Say hello to Stan and Mr. Richard. A lot of the regulars. Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do you want to subscribe to well, Chop, are we going to have a video? Is it going to be on the RotoGrinders page, the OG's podcast? I believe it was last year. I know it's audio available as well. Yeah,
there's some video. They make us do video now. Yeah, I don't get it, but okay. Yeah, there's video.
Nola did get his face punched in. Yeah, Nola was rough last night. So was Freed. But my best lineup happened to have Gausman and Kirby. Just sort of worked out that way. And how about those Royals? Finally, eventually, they banged out some homers. Shout out to Dave Potts. CheeseIsGood. I think his home run call yesterday with Sal Perez made a ton of sense against reverse splitsy fly ball, yielding Giolito. Perez banged one out, and then Taylor leading off with he had two homers in the game. Michael A. Taylor getting off the Schneid. Hey, you know what, Chop? I don't know why I'm talking about yesterday. It's Daily Fantasy Sports. We care about today. Today only. Who cares about yesterday? Clean slate today. 9-gamer, 2+ hours MLB DFS talk. I believe you're getting Dave Potts as well as SquirrelPatrol. SquirrelPatrol back from the DK Live Final, going to the Fanduel Live Final next week. Want to wish him luck in advance. I think he has like four tickets. I believe he's got 4 bullets into that contest. TJ, of course, another one. Christie's got one as well. I'm not sure who else in the RG family has some bullets there to the Fanduel contest. Of course, Chop, there's another way you can win yourself a trip to Chicago. You know how to do that? I assume you know how to do that as far as on Fanduel's dime. Are you aware of the promo? You're aware of the promo, right?
Why don't you tell me about it, Dean? I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know that RotoGrinders sponsors the single entry series on FanDuel? So if you play single entry series contests on FanDuel every single week, it's been changing which ones they sponsor. You know what I'm talking about. Certainly you've seen this in the lobby. You see the RG logo. This week, I believe it's a $30 variety. It's the $30. And if you get, if you have the best consensus, the best top 4 scores collectively throughout the week, Monday through Sunday, if you play every single day, you could drop your 3 lowest scores. You win yourself a trip to Chicago. You have a chance to play for a total prize pool of $50K. You bink it. You win first. I believe it's out of 8. Don't quote me on that. $10K up top. And that's almost always the first contest that sells out on FanDuel. I did jump in there right before the show. Let's see how many spots are remaining. It's probably still available. Yeah. So there's still 300 spots left. Out of 980 available, 630 have been claimed. But, if you want to play that and you want to participate, I recommend you do so and reserve your spot because it will fill up. If not now, by the time Roth comes on, or certainly by lock, feel free to jump in there. Chop, this slate, man. It's it's straightforward. It's kind of weird too, right? Because we got the greatest pitcher in the world versus the best offense in the world. One of the best offenses. I guess it's subjective, I suppose. The numbers will say different things, but Dodgers certainly top 2, top 3, facing Degrom, who's just completely insane. If you want to get into the numbers, I know it's kind of it's small sample, but it's a sample we got as far as Degrom. 44.7% strikeouts, 1.9% walks, insanity. He's actually been, if you want to argue, he's been unlucky with his 2.15 ERA. His Sierra's 1.32. He's facing a good Dodger team, obviously. And it's not like yesterday where you have a bunch of pitchers you can pivot to. Yesterday it was like 5 or 6 pitchers I felt really good about, and so the mid-tier was pretty good. Today, the mid-tier is trash. We'll have that conversation. You have Garrett Cole, who's, he's had his missteps here and there, but he's clearly the second best pitcher. And then guys like Lance Lynn and Joe Ryan is our mid-tier that we're supposed to feel good about. Lynn's been pretty unlucky. We'll talk about it. But, yeah, Chop, let's start with Degrom. And I guess the entire slate as far as your screenshot. But I think it starts with Degrom versus the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think that's where people are going to start. That's the big question. Earlier this morning, I woke up and had my breakfast, Dean, and had my cup of coffee, started putting together my expert survey and rankings and all the other good stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, Degrom. I don't care about the Dodgers offense. Got to have some Degrom. As the afternoon has worn on, the more I'm thinking about it. Man, that's a big price to pay for Degrom. I know he's going to be you're paying for that floor. You're paying for that stabilized outcome. He's not going to get you. I think I read somewhere and included in the survey this morning that Garrett Cole's given up 3 or more earned runs in like 3 of his last 6 starts. Right, Degrom hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in 3 years. It's been since 2019. Yeah. I know he's had some injury, but 2019 was the last time he gave up more than 3 earned runs. You have this rock solid floor, and there's obviously a high ceiling because of the strikeout rate. But at that price tag, do we want to roster him, or do we want to save $3,000 and be within 10 or 15 points of him, which is a possibility with one of these other guys? So it's a tough question right there. That's just tough. It's a tough question. It's something you're going to have to determine when you build your lineups. That's the first thing you're going to do. You want that rock solid floor with a hint of upside, or not a hint, a major splash of upside, or do you want to save the money and try to hang within? It's kind of like these guys are running in the Olympics in the 100 meters. Usain Bolt's probably going to win 9 times out of 10. But can the second place guy hang within, X amount of seconds of him across the finish line? And if so, then it's kind of a success in his own right. So that's a good question, Dean. I'm not sold yet on what I want to do with Degrom.
It's funny you compare him to Usain Bolt, and I compared him to Joey Chestnut. The second greatest hot dog eater in the world is really good, but the difference between him and Joey Chestnut's dramatic. Just like the second greatest pitcher in the world is really good, but Degrom is so much better than the second best pitcher in the world. It's insane, the gap. And even on the slate, we'll kind of work our way down. Degrom's got a 44.7% K rate. And I wouldn't think that would sustain for the entire season, but it's not going to be, it'll be higher than 30, probably 35, maybe 40. I don't know, but it's not going to be 44, whatever it is. Degrom is well ahead of Cole at 32%. Then the next guy is Lance Lynn at 25, who's fine. Ryan at 24, Wright at 24. And it's a big gap. And we don't really have, I know Nola wasn't good, but we don't have guys like Nola or Gallen or Fried. There's just not a whole bunch of guys to consider as far as people you can typically trust throwing baseballs. I see a question in chat. What about playing Degrom and 2 Dodgers? It's a 9-game slate. If it was like a 4 or 5 gamer, okay, maybe he'll give up a solo homer or 2. I cannot advocate that. Would you play Degrom and 2 Dodgers in the same lineup? I would not do that.
I have a phrase for that, Dean. I oftentimes tell it to my kids when they're running around doing whatever. I say, "You're DTM. You're doing too much. Like you just settle down a little bit, reel it in a little bit." No, I wouldn't play. Of course, if you hit it perfectly, you can do that any night. I can play a pitcher. It's probably not going to pitch a shutout. So if I picked up perfect two hitters any night, it could happen. So it could happen tonight against Degrom, but no, I don't need to do that on 9 games.
Yeah, that was Brian's question. I wouldn't do.
Oh,
that.
no offense, though, Brian. I mean, there are no such things as dumb questions.
I mean, Blender would disagree with you. You ever ask Blender a question about anything? Especially like 2v2s, he'll go on a 3-minute diatribe as why is a stupid question. Hey, Gunnar Henderson is getting called up today. Thank you for that in the chat. Congratulations to him. I falsely said he was getting called up like a week ago or so. I misread something on Twitter. But yeah, good for Baltimore. Good for Gunnar Henderson. I actually saw the clip of him getting. I love watching those chop. Like they have like a hidden camera and they tell them they're getting called up. And like no matter how much of a stud, eventually they're going to get there, right? But it's just a cool moment to watch. They're basically their dream. It's coming soon. You're being told your dream's going to happen.
Is he any good?
Yeah, he's supposed to be legit. Yeah, he's one of the top 6-7 prospects in baseball hitting wise. Like they update him in the middle of the season, and he shot up pretty good. The guy in Arizona, he hit the bench today, but Arizona, man, the center field is ridiculous. He had a 437-foot double off center field because their center field wall is just absurd. It's funny because we think of San Francisco is like 391, right? It's just dimensions in baseball. I like it. I like how each field has their own sort of individual twist. Remember years ago, you probably remember this, Chop. How dumb was that? What was it? Howes Hill in Houston?
Howes Hill, brother.
Is that the stupidest idea?
No, how fun was that, Dean? You put little obstacles out in the outfield for the outfield. That's great.
It's like the rock and jock baseball. Remember, back in the
why not, Dean? You hit one to dead center, and maybe you can get a inside the park home run if it rolls over the hill just the right way.
Maybe you'll tear your ACL too.
No, you're not tearing no ACL. There was 0 ACL tears
because everybody was afraid to go up the hill
because of Howes Hill. Dean, come on, don't be such a curmudgeon. I'll tell you, before that, Dean, I wanted to, speaking of prospects and speaking of Howes Hill,
yeah,
the Astros called up Hunter Brown September 1st, coming up tomorrow.
Hunter Brown. I don't know about Hunter Brown. I'm not a prospect.
He's going to be a great pitcher. Great pitcher. Yeah, he's I think they're just going to limit him to bullpen work this year, though. But he'll be up there tomorrow. He's electric. He's got plus curveball, great fastball. It's going to be fun stuff.
Yeah, Michael says, didn't the Polo Grounds have a flagpole? I think so. Like I mean that was before my time. That was before Chop's time. But I think they did. And you remember back in the day, I made the reference to the I'm sure you're old enough. You recall the Rock and Jock baseball, like on MTV. That was a big deal. And basketball, they would raise the hoop to like 30 feet, like just some absurdity. But baseball, they would put like cows in the outfield, like not actual cows, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I used to watch a lot of MTV back in the day. It used to be good. It's not so much anymore, but it used to be really good.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time, and I sound like an old curmudgeon. I can't remember the last time I turned on MTV. I don't know what. I guess Real World, is that still a thing? Or the Challenge is really popular, right?
The Challenge is good.
The kids love the Challenge.
I love the Challenge. I watch all the Challenge seasons.
Do you still? I feel like Big T ran up. Did he run a pool on that, or was in a pool, or I don't know? Was that a thing that existed? I remember being asked to join it once, but yeah, I feel
he's run some pools. He's run some pools. You gotta watch out for Big T, man. You'll win that thing, and you won't get paid for like 6-7 months. He just kind of forgets about it. It's a little rough.
It's funny you say that.
Uh-oh.
No.
Did you get in a little siege pool?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, I forgot about you guys got a rivalry going on, don't you?
Me and who?
You and Siege.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a rivalry. I wouldn't say that. We don't play each other. So like, how can you have a rivalry? You never play each other.
You said Big T and the Challenge, and I thought you were talking about for a minute, I thought you were talking about the Big T from the Challenge.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
You know, there's a Challenge member on. Her name is Big T. They call her Big T. Yeah, we used to give DFS Big T a hard time.
We got producer Devin today. He says he can't believe he produced a Survivor DFS live stream. I feel like that happened, and I don't think I was invited, which I was insulted because I love the Survivor. I'm not a big reality show guy, but I love Survivor, and I was in a Survivor pool, and like we pick it before the season, right? I had 3 of the final 4. Like, dude, you guys don't want me in your Survivor pool. I was pretty solid. No inside information. I don't go to searching on the sites. I'm sure there's stuff out there, just off the dome. Maybe I'll just retire like that. But yeah, Survivor, there's a new season coming. For some reason, they just keep, 40 years they've done it now, and it's still good. It's still fresh. Too.
Yeah, it's still good. They got some good. I watched that. But the things we had to do during COVID, man. The things we had to do. A Survivor, like that's all we had. We had no real sports. We did a Survivor pool and televised it. And the challenge. And they had the challenge. They had to put a challenge pool out there for us too on FanDuel. Crazy.
Yeah, that did happen. I do remember this now. Yeah, I think it was free, right? They just wanted to keep people aware that FanDuel and like these sites exist, even though there's really no sports. I did like a Royal Rumble one once. I don't know. Just picking and I went on like a wrestling site to like pick up some wrestling dudes. I can't remember how it turned out or not, but yeah, because that's Chop, you're sitting down, right? A lot of that stuff is predetermined.
Wrestling, yeah, I learned a long time ago. Wrestling, I won't say fake. That's not a nice word, but
they get hurt. They get legit beat up and injured. So I wouldn't say fake either. That's why I say predetermined.
Yeah, it is predetermined. You got to watch out. Some of those stuff. Just like I learned with the challenge pools back in the day. These guys get on the internet and they find the winners. They find the spoilers. And that's how you get beat. I didn't like that too much when I found that out.
I don't want to play against those guys. Yeah, it's still real to me. Damn it! Remember that famous wrestling quote? Somebody in chat knows what I'm talking about, and I did it for that one person. Everybody else is like, "What's he talking about?" Chop, we want the Gentleman's Club Cologne play of the day. T from LOC. Do you happen to have that on layaway? Do you want to tease that? Is that something we're going to get at some point throughout the show?
I don't know, Dean. That's a very odd way of asking for my play of the day. I don't.
Well, you have a history with gentlemen's clubs. Let's not.
Yes, but I think he's referencing a bathroom attendant. I was never a bathroom attendant. Was never a cologne guy. Okay.
You were the bouncer or the DJ?
This is Kirk rubbing off on people here. This is Kirk rubbing off. Kirk will make these jokes all day long, and that's why he's on probation from my college football stuff. Gotta be careful, man.
Is Aqua Velva your go-to according to the chat?
Aqua Velva is an aftershave, not a cologne, man.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just regurgitating the chat. I'm here on behalf of the chat. I'm a man of the people. Devin said he played Rocket League DFS and found out apparently it was rigged. I didn't know Rocket League was rigged, but is we confirm that?
I think it was the contests. The DFS contests were rivaling the actual tournament's prize pools. So there were people that were just throwing the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, how bored were you, Devin? What made you what was going on in your life that day? You're like,
actually, Dean, what was going on that day was you and I were recording morning grind interviews. That's what was going on my day.
One of which maybe was Chop. Chop was actually the very first one I interviewed. Stevie is like, I'm out of here. Screw this. You take this over. You interview some people. You figure it out. I don't remember how it went down, but I ended up running the morning grind. It's kind of tricky to run when there's no sports going on. So I'm like, hey, let's just have people on and talk to them and see what's up in their world. And Chop, you actually were the first person I asked. Were you honored in retrospect?
I don't remember what we're talking about.
Don't either.
I'm sure I was honored, Dean, in some way, shape, or form.
So on DK, by the way, I'm really going to try to play Degrom and Cole, and like that's not like creative or different. But like again, the drop off from 2 to 3, I did run some optimals. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. And you were kind of talking about it. Degrom, they did raise the price on DK. We haven't had a pitcher this expensive on DK in a long time. 11.5 and 12K on FanDuel. I ran some optimals on FanDuel just to kind of see what I was getting because you're limited to 2.8 per stick. Then there's ways to make stuff work. J-Rod is like the one big spend for what it's worth, leading off on the road there in Detroit, and then you got a bunch of Mariners. Actually, the Mariners are pretty popular here because they're cheap. Toros 2K. You got the cheap A's, A's versus Washington, 2 bad teams, good ballpark against 2 terrible pitchers. Who knows how that's going to go? But I'm probably going to lean on that game for the DK as well to kind of open stuff up. And we live in the world of salary cap. That's how you make things happen. There are some cheapies on both sides of that game that aren't spectacular, but probably 2 of the worst pitchers also throwing baseballs and a great ballpark to hit baseballs in Washington. You're playing mostly on FanDuel, Chop. I know it's kind of like your home base. Just speak for yourselves. Feel free. I don't know if you're playing on DK or not, but that is, you're kind of pushed to it. Like you can only have your lineups don't have a lot of versatility, I guess is one way to say it, when you have Degrom on FanDuel.
Yeah, he's expensive, but so is Garrett Cole, and Kyle Wright's only 300 less than Garrett Cole, so they jacked up all the prices on these particular guys. So listen, that's the decision you have to make on FanDuel. But on FanDuel, as opposed to DraftKings, you only get that one pitcher. So you better get it right. I don't have the luxury of it's a 2 versus 2 combination over there on, and I'll throw this name out there just to make the point. Like on DraftKings, I could go Degrom and Anibal Sanchez. Super cheap. I could go super expensive, super cheap, and then you're a 2v2. Will that outscore the other combination of Kyle Wright and Joe Ryan or something? I don't know what the salaries add up, but you get the point.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, you don't get that luxury. If Degrom goes out there and drops a 70 spot on you, you're not making that up with Kyle Wright tonight. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man. But that's why I multi-enter, Dean, so I don't have to make these tough decisions. I just play 10% of everybody.
What? I feel like did you steal that from somebody? That's an incredible philosophy.
Yeah, I mean
that way you just get every possible combination. Essentially, my math.
Pick up on things doing these shows.
On DK, by the way, Degrom at 50%, Cole at 52%, getting over 100% of the 200% available. They're both going to be super popular. And again, the mid-tier is pretty rough. You got Lance Lynn against KC. KC finally came alive yesterday. Lynn, doesn't walk a lot of guys. The Ks are pretty good. He survives on BABIP. And again, he's been unlucky. If you trust, just look at the numbers this year. I think his ERA is above 5. Kind of pulling up right now. And his Sierra is somewhere in the 3s. Yeah, Lynn has got a 5 ERA. Sierra 3.26. The homer and the fly ball is almost 18%, a little bit over 300 as far as the BABIP. The left on base, the lob is just at 65%, so he's not stranding enough runners. You can tell yourself that story. And also KC, just throw last night out, whatever, good for them. And I had some pieces and whatever, but they've been bad. They've just been a bad ball club. If you look at the WOBA on the plate IQ, every single one of them, everybody playing baseball tonight for Kansas City is in the red against righties this season, WOBA-wise. There is some power up top with Prado and Perez, Witt and Melendez, of course, Lynn. You want to see as many righties as possible. He strikes out 32% of righties this season, just 20% of lefties. We do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties, not the best lefties. Melendez, Prado showed up his power last night. Nicky Lopez has no power whatsoever. There's your mush play. And Waters is a person who's got a 0 ISO in 18 at-bats this year versus righties. Starting to rain here, by the way, just a heads up. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Weather here in Florida is fickle, so hopefully it'll go away.
Oh, I hear it, Dean.
Yeah, it's
it sounds
down.
relaxed. I could take a nap right now, man.
Are you one of those guys that falls asleep like the rainwater, stuff like that?
I don't want to take naps. I don't like it, but man, you get a little overcast skies, lowers the sun. No sun, blocks out the sun a little, and then you get the rain hitting the roof. Oh, yeah, it's money.
I fell asleep last night watching the Black Phone? Is that what that movie's called? Does that sound right?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like midway through. No spoilers. I wasn't that I was bored. I was just tired. It's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was.
Real fast. Yeah. There's a question in chat from Hoosiers. He says, "Can Serena win tonight plus 205?" Yeah, she can win. She can win if the moment gets too big for her opponent. And it's
who's she facing? I have no idea.
Condovit.
Okay. Is she like a ranked player?
I mean, Serena's plus 205, so
yeah,
she's definitely. But
this is it for her, right?
Sprinkle a little, probably. So sprinkle a little Serena. Yeah, it's worth a sprinkle. That's what we say in the betting business. It's worth a sprinkle.
Well, I know the term. I've heard it before.
Okay.
She's 40, by the way, playing tennis, which is your career in tennis is done at like 30, 31, 30. It's just incredible. You can make the argument if you want to make the argument like the greatest athlete of our time, right? You don't even have to put the woman stigma on it. You don't have to do that. Some people want him.
I don't know.
It's most dominant, like just most dominant in her field.
Is age really a thing these days, though? We got a quarterback at 45 years old.
The Brady thing's ridiculous. Yeah. And LeBron, like, look what LeBron does at, what is he, 42, 43 now? 44? Insane. I'm sure that's a combination of modern science and an incredible work ethic and all that and healthy eating and whatever. But, all right. Hey, what do you think of Lance Lynn? Do we like Lance Lynn tonight?
Well, I think I'm not 100% projection guy. I'm not going to live and die by projection, but he's getting such a nice projection and such a lower price tag than Degrom or Cole or even Kyle Wright on FanDuel that you have to consider him. I'm not a huge Lynn guy, but he has looked good lately. So he's bouncing back. Last outing 6-8, 6 innings, 8 Ks, hasn't allowed more than two, like 1, 2, 1. Those are his earned runs totals in the last 4 starts. So he's doing fine. He's doing well. He's bouncing back from that injury and then the slow start after the injury. Price is low enough, and the matchup is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. So, yeah, like I think he has to remain in your player pool. That's the path you choose.
We saw that photo of Mike Tyson sitting next to Martina Navratilova and her dog. I think they were watching the Serena Williams tennis. And I just got a flashback to that. Did you see that picture? Like, in what other world are those two going to be hanging out? But and a dog, just randomly. So I saw that picture and I did a quick little search. Like, oh yeah, that was a fun picture. Hey, Joe Ryan. Like this is what happens here, Chop. Right? Like, there's 2 really good pitchers. Garrett Cole has had his issues, but he's clearly the second best pitcher in the slate. The Angels are 2 guys and a bunch of nobodies. Obviously the Angels lineup's pretty putrid. He'll give up some power on occasion. Sure, he'll give up a solo job. Not a big deal. He gave up like 5 or 6 to Seattle. That was troublesome. But this is where things get sketchy. I can't remember who, but somebody in chat was asking about Marco Gonzalez. Like, I don't want to play Marco Gonzalez ever.
So Joe Ryan, like, he's a hit or miss guy. You mentioned a lot of runs. Sometime he gave up 10 runs, like a few weeks ago. 10 runs to San Diego.
That's a lot of runs. Yeah.
Like, he can miss big time, but he's going to get you probably a little bit over a strikeout an inning. So if he can get through 6 innings, he's going to get you the strikeouts. If he can limit that run, giving up the runs, he's in. Like, I didn't want to put Joe Ryan in my player pool, but and you look at the matchup, Boston, they stink on offense. So I think he can get some things done here. So the price is significantly lower than the big 2 of Cole and Degrom. So, yeah, I think you got to consider him.
Ryan has issues striking out lefties. Almost over 30% of righties he strikes out. Lefties is 17%, but he is seeing a pile of righties. I believe it's 7 by my UCF math. Yeah, Verdugo and Devers are the 2 lefties, but otherwise we're looking at 7 righties, and there are some K guys. Story, K in it with 29%. You love seeing Dahlbach in there at 33%. He's a kind of all or nothing kind of guy, usually nothing. Tommy Pham, rough season for him all around, 28% as far as strikeouts. He's having issues with his fantasy leagues. Martinez has not been good this year. If it's his age, if it's his back, who knows what's going on. Boston as a whole, that team is just donezo. And I do like seeing 7 righties versus Ryan because, again, 30.5% strikeouts. I don't love that he's going to be like kind of de facto mid-tier chalk, right? Let's pull this up. Where do we have Ryan at? We only got him at 14% on DK, which is a little low. I thought it'd be higher than that. What do we have on a FanDuel, Chopper? We got Ryan at why can't I?
He's super low. He's less than 7%.
What's his price there?
9,000.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And if I have the money, right, I would. And somebody was asking in chat about Wright. Stan's like, well, what about Kyle Wright? Yeah, Kyle Wright's good, and the Rockies stink. The ballpark's not great to throw baseballs, but that Colorado lineup is really, really bad. Your thoughts as far as Wright? If I have the money, I prefer him over both Lynn and Ryan, but I don't know if I'm in the money because I'm at least going to have 1 or 2 of those. Well, like I can't have 2 of those pitching studs. I can't roster 3, but you know what I'm saying. I'm spending up for at least 1 pitcher on DK, possibly 2, all the way up. Your thoughts as far as Wright?
I like him. He's 3rd on the board as far as just pure raw projection, arm talent, everything of that nature behind Degrom and Cole. He's there. Great matchup. Arguably as good a better matchup than Garrett Cole. It's debatable, and he's been good lately. I like Kyle Wright quite a bit tonight. It's a shame he came on a slate where you have, Degrom and Lynn, Degrom and Cole. But that's the whole thing about Jacob Degrom. If you choose not to play him, then you can just pivot to Kyle Wright, and I think you can get. It's the thing I was talking about earlier. Can your number 2 guy, the guy you choose to start over Degrom, can he hang within distance of Degrom? It's an accomplishment if Degrom ends up with what's kind of a round. If he ends up with 50 Fanduel points tonight, if Kyle Wright gets within 10 of that, I think that's an accomplishment, and I think that can happen. I like Kyle Wright. He's number 3 on my list. Good matchup, good pitcher, like it.
Chop, Michael in chat wants to know, do you think it's either Degrom or Cole, single entry on FanDuel, or would you really consider Lynn? Lynn is 8K. Degrom's 11.5. Cole's 10.8. No, those are DK prices. I'm on the wrong. Degrom is 12. Cole is 11.1. And Lynn is 8.9. Lynn, of course, would give you a different shuffle as far as hitters. Opens up a few more power sticks. Single entry, like typically people run optimal baseball lineups in single entry, which is probably not the best way to play them. Like we saw yesterday, single entry stuff on DK. Some of the Braves are like 50% owned. And yeah, I didn't mean to put that lineup that I had had a lot of Braves in it, and that single entry just sort of worked out that way. And, and the Braves, of course, flopped. And once they flop, there goes half the field. They're donezo. It's baseball. There's variance. If you're making a single entry lineup, if you're in the RotoGrinders sponsored single entry series on FanDuel, do you think it's one of Degrom or Cole? 26% Degrom, 24% Cole. We have Lynn at 15%. It's an interesting predicament because, if you're shooting for the top, it's definitely one way to be different. And hopefully your bats can make up the difference of Lynn versus Degrom and Cole.
It's, for me, single entry. It's definitely Degrom or it's Cole on FanDuel because Kyle Wright's only $300 less than Garrett Cole. If that's a no-brainer to me. And I know Cole, like I talked about it, he can be blown up at any point. He is not like this super safe, but he can have as much upside as Jacob Degrom in a heartbeat tonight. So it kind of eliminates Kyle Wright just by being only 300 less. So it becomes Degrom or Cole. On FanDuel, you don't want to miss out on a pitcher going for like this GPP winning, even if he's expensive. You don't want to miss out on a 60-point game out of one of these 2 guys. One of them is liable to do that tonight. Yeah, like you said, the pitching is a lot more predictable than the hitting. I can take a bunch of different hitters, lower price range. Who knows? Any of those guys are just as likely to have a big game tonight as Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge gets walked 2 times and then 2 ground out or 2 flyouts to the warning track, so hitting's not predictable. Pitching is. I want one of those top 2 guys, and single entry. It's going to be Degrom or it's going to be Cole. And you know what? On FanDuel, because of the price tag and because of the matchup, Jacob Degrom is actually going to be probably the third most owned guy, as opposed to like number 1, which you would think with that kind of a projection. It's only about the 3rd most owned guy, so actually might be a little bit of a, non-chalk there in tournaments.
I was looking at the bat ownership optimal projections on FanDuel. It has Lynn in there as the SP.
Well, we've had words with Cardi before about that. Like it definitely the bat that you have to watch out with that. It definitely favors guys. There was a whole stretch of about 18 months a couple years ago where it would have had Rudy Odor in every optimizer, every slate play. Like that's just the way. This year, probably 80% of the time he's on the slate, it has Dalton Varsho in there. It's just the way it goes sometimes. They have a lot of respect for Lynn, but
lots of Patrick Corbin hate too.
Yeah, but I'm not. Lynn's okay. Just it's not for me. Not with these other 2 studs on there tonight, man. Because Lynn's not gonna get. Like if one of these other guys has a good game, Lynn won't hang within 20 points of Degrom or Cole if they have that good game.
Yeah, but if you get the roster 2 big bats and those 2 big bats both homer, that more than makes up the difference. It's kind of
but that goes back to what I just said.
No, yeah, I know.
I can't. Yeah, you're like Mike Trout is. What are the odds Mike Trout has this what are the odds in a vacuum that Mike Trout homers tonight? Like, what is it? Less than 5%, I think, is the number. I don't remember, but something like that. And so that's not really. I'd rather.
Wait, the odds of Trout homering tonight is less than 5%. I'll take 20-1 on Trout homering. Is that what you said?
I don't know what. I just
I'll
like
take
what.
10-1.
Okay, you'll take 10 to. Well, yeah. What is the Vegas number? Okay, well, that's Vegas number. I don't know. Like, I'm just talking about in general. Like, how many? What are the odds he hits a home run tonight? Or not even a home run. A home run is like, that's fine, but that might not even make up for you losing 25 points on a pitcher. Maybe.
Well, a lot of it is like, okay, if you're rostering Degrom, now it matters how the cheapies do. And if the cheapies all crush, then Degrom does, you're kind of sort of forced into certain builds. And, like some Washington and Oakland guys, I suppose, and some of the cheap Seattle guys.
It's baseball. You've always got options, I think. Like,
there are options
on a 9-game slate. Like, so if I plug him in, lock in DeGrom, I've still got almost 2,900 per player for all my hitters tonight on Fanduel. Like, I got a ton of options down there in that range.
It's interesting. I have two different sets of ownership projections. I have the MLB Plate IQ projections, which you get with RG Premium, and then I have like Cardi's the bat ownership projections. I think they're a little bit different today. And according to the MLB Plate IQ, we have Cole on Fanduel at 31%, DeGrom at 25%, and Lynn at 12%. But like if you shuffle it up, as I'm doing right now, we have DeGrom slightly ahead on the bat at 26, 24, 14. It's the same sort of principle, which is kind of interesting. We have Lynn third.
I should note the screen share is the bat projections.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, and I never really know which one to talk about, Devin. Like they're both relevant, and they both, I think
they're both tasty. Both. It's just different flavors of the same ice cream.
Yeah, and they're both in the same general ballpark. Rarely do you see like huge outliers amongst the two. They're essentially, I don't know. I'm not privy to all the technicalities. But
sometimes you can exploit that, though, if you notice a difference between the two projections.
How would I go about exploiting that, Devin?
I'll consider that after you come back to me.
Oh, I thought you had an answer ready to go.
I have had that situation, but I'll have to remember the circumstances. So come back to me on it.
Shop, you got anything else to say as far as pitchers? I think we've, there's a lot of guys pitching that just we didn't even acknowledge. But like, should we? I don't.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Caprellian.
Like we went down the top 5 guys: DeGrom, Lynn, Cole, Wright, Ryan. Those are the guys you're considering. I mentioned a guy in passing earlier only because of the really super cheap salary as a starting pitcher too. That's Anibal Sanchez. That's good matchup. He's actually been decent lately. And if you need to save that money to get a better bat, that's only one other. But the other guys, like somebody mentioned Marco Gonzalez earlier. No, thank you. No, thank you.
You're begging for like 4 strikeouts and like 6 innings, and he might get the win, but like there's just no upside with Marco Gonzalez.
Yeah. So, and there's not really, Michael Wacha, too expensive. Tyler Anderson, too expensive. They're okay, but those guys are far too expensive tonight. They don't really do anything. Like if you're going to save money, you go the super saver route with Anibal Sanchez. These other guys are just, they're too high.
Like the White Sox have been perennially, this has been a disappointing every single slate essentially. So I guess you can roster Bubic, but he's bad too. Like his walks are too high, his Ks are too low. And
I'd rather stack the White Sox, So
I guess, but really, La Russa's not going to be there. Hopefully he's healthy and fine, but he's going to be taking an indefinite leave of absence. We'll see.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he's away from the team. There's some sort of medical concern, or he's going to see his personal physician or whatever. Not going to get into like why he's even there in the first place, but hopefully he'll be well. He'll be fine. Hey, hitters, stacks. Yesterday Atlanta flopped. Today's a new day, and looking at our consensus rankings, Chopper, and you're included. I'm included as well. Keith, Dave Potts, Cheese is good. We all got Atlanta. We're all going right back to Atlanta. Acuna back in that lineup, by the way. Makes it look much stronger. It's not Urania, who is just a lot of fun to pick on. He survived yesterday, and good for him. I thought he was going to get knocked out in the first inning, but he pulled a Houdini, and then he all of a sudden just survived the entire slate. Atlanta's number 1 as far as stacks. Interesting. You have the White Sox second. I didn't put them on my board, but they probably would have been 6th for me. We'll talk about Atlanta and, how do you feel about them today? And then I got Toronto second personally against Farrell in that bullpen. But what's your thoughts as far as the Braves to start?
The Braves are an offensive juggernaut. Like, they just produce, man. That's all. This is the same thing that happened this time last year. You know, they started off slow and then they get into that groove and they're unstoppable. And they're just a juggernaut on offense. So, yeah, this is a good matchup. They're at home. They seem like the default number one to me. Toronto's, depending on where you're looking, has a higher team total. But Toronto falters way more than the Braves. It seems like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just my bias. But it seems like Toronto lets you down in these situations a lot more than Atlanta does. So Atlanta's the clear number one for me.
Toronto, all that righty power, facing Luke Farrell, a righty that's reverse splitsing, just not very good. He's not going to stick around too long. Maybe 3 or 4 innings or something like that. And then it kind of turns into a bullpen game. What does Cardi have projected for Farrell as far as pitches? I would guess somewhere around 70, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's pull it up. Let's see what we have. We got 69. I was close. There you go. I just won both Showcase Showdowns.
Nice.
Yes, there. Thank you. This is why you got to keep the mic on, Devin, for dynamite drop-ins like that. One of us had to do it. I left an opening for Chop. He didn't take it, and you pounced. Congratulations. What about beyond Atlanta? You kind of talked about Chicago. Is there teams you feel great about, or just like, hey, they're playing baseball and things can, go well? I see multiple people in the chat talking about Seattle, like Seattle a good bit. J-Rod on the road against, somebody we're not afraid of in a ballpark that's fine. It's an upgrade there in Detroit, I believe, versus Seattle. Seattle, not a great ballpark to hit baseballs in. You got a second team or a third team you want to feature before we go around the horn shop?
Feature, no, I think they're all kind of, I mentioned Toronto, they're fine. I like the White Sox against the left-hander. If I'm going to stack the White Sox, I prefer it against the left-hander. I don't mind this lineup they put up. Elvis Andrews not a great leadoff hitter, but it could be worse. I like some of the individual pieces on Chicago against left-handers. I like Vaughn and Pollock and Abreu, who's not, he's kind of like lost his reverse or kind of lost his splits over the years, splits domination, but he's still good. Eloy Jimenez and Grandel, if you need a catcher on DraftKings, I think that makes for a good part of the stack. So I like that general makeup of that middle of that lineup. I like Philadelphia. They're probably not going to get a lot of love, but Tommy Henry, assuming however long he sticks around, not a big strikeout guy so far in his big league career, but he does walk a lot of guys. That tells me that maybe he doesn't stick around very long in this game. Runs up a pitch count and starts walking guys. So I can start off with the right-handed bats, but I can play the lefties too, even though it's lefty on lefty. I can play the left-handers too, because this guy will be out of there by the third inning if things work out for me. So then all that Bryce Harper under-owned and Kyle Schwarber goes a little under-owned because it's lefty on lefty, but that's not going to matter in the long run. But just the fact that I'll get that 1 or 2 at-bats from Rhys Hoskins against a lefty or Gene Segura against a lefty. Wow, I really like that. So I like a lot of Philly too tonight.
Antonio in chat saying Trout is a one-off. I think he's an interesting one-off because that's kind of sort of how we get to that's how we get to
what else are you going to do, Dean? You're not going to stack the Angels, are you?
No. Well, Cole will give up homers and he's reverse splitsy. And just for you were on the show. I was curious. I'm sure you already know this. You dug into this as far as BBP. Garrett Cole versus Mike Trout this year. His career. 21 plate appearances, 18 at bats, 5 hits, 4 singles, and a homer, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. So nothing crazy there. I imagine, not to be presumptuous, you probably have a BBP play of the day for the people. I'm guessing it's not Trout, but you got somebody.
I did dig in and try to find some, but I can't force it, Dean. And tonight is just not the night. There's just nothing that jumped out to said that's the reason why I want him is because of that history. There just wasn't there. So no, I do not. But because all the numbers like that, the numbers you just ran off, it doesn't do anything for me, Dean.
I'm trying to see if there is one in your honor.
Told you there wasn't. You don't have to find my honor.
I will now. Just checking your work now. I pulled the page up, so I might as well scroll. Altuve's face. Oh wait, he's not facing. That's
they already
that's
played
the wrong slate. Yeah, I'm looking at.
But Altuve actually crushed it today. So
did he? He had BBP versus Martin Perez, 15 hits and 52 at bats. That's not even great, but he had no. Just, man, it just faced him a lot. Did he hit a homer today? He's never homered up Perez. Perez never gives up homers. But
no homers, but I think he had a couple extra base hits.
All right.
So we're good there. But yeah, they already played.
I like the catcher position strangely, like more so than most days today, which is weird. Like, on that scale of how much you typically like catchers. No d'Arnaud today for Atlanta, for what it's worth. Kirk is back for Toronto against Farrell. You got to pay for him. But I like Shea Legulairs against Anibal Sanchez, reverse splitsy. I like Murphy. I like both the catchers on that Oakland side. You talk about Anibal, and I hear you. Like, if you need the same salary, you might as well just go all the way down and just pick on Oakland. It's bad versus bad, and something's got to give. But Legulairs a 3.4K on DK where you're forcing me to roster catcher. I think that's pretty solid. What say you? You get the big dumper, Kyle Raleigh's 3.9K on the road as well. Haas on the other side versus Marco Gonzalez. And we got Will Smith back in the lineup. Of course, well, theoretically, you're not going to be rostering versus Degrom, but nobody's playing him, yada, yada. How about yourself? How do you feel about catcher?
Yeah, I just you mentioned a lot of Murphy, Melendez, Langoliers are fine. I like JT Realmuto if you can spend up a little bit because I like him as part of this Philly stack. I like Grandel as part of the White Sox stack, but if you just have to roster a catcher on DraftKings and you need to get that position out of the way, but you've got a little money, Grandel and Realmuto are fine to me. So that's where I'm at with those guys. No, big dumper doesn't do it for me. Kirk, Kirk doesn't do it for me. Alejandro Kirk, not Kirk from RG.
Okay. I thought somehow Big Dumper reminded you subliminally of Kirkwood. I was like, I wonder where you're going with that. I guess not.
Dean saw a pot waiting to get stirred.
Yeah, Dean. I know what Dean's trying to do. We know these guys. These guys like Dean just pot stirrers, man. That's all.
Well, he's a big fan of the squatty potty and the bidet, and I feel like that's all sort of in the same bucket,
There does seem to be a pattern brewing lately.
Maybe that's why he's such a big fan of Kyle Raleigh.
Yeah. And he's the only DFS/bidet tout that I'm aware of. There might be another one that exists, but the number one ranked in the world, by default, if nothing else.
Not a lot of competition for sure.
Devin, you like any catchers tonight? You want to chime in? You got a catcher play for people?
Whoever's in my stack, Dean.
Oh, is that Blender right here? Did you listen to his audio? 19
Exclusively
hours of
5-3 stacks on DraftKings, Dean.
Is that
that is not sarcasm.
You have the hard and set rule of like 5 and 3, and that's that?
Mm-hmm. I've just had way more success doing that than I have had not doing that.
Well, Chopper takes umbrage with that. Chopper doesn't like he likes an organic stack. He doesn't like to force it though, right, Chop?
Every slate's different, Dean. Every slate's different. All right.
I'm just stirring the pot again.
You are. You're a pot stirrer today, Dean. I don't like the side of you. This is not very becoming of you. But
it's a really quick slate. I'm stretching it out, man.
I guess this is a good time for me to let Chop know he's on a new Blender show this NFL season.
Wait, Chop is on the show?
No, I'm yanking his chain.
Did
I have you there?
I'd be about ready to take this mic off and
Chop putting his resignation in.
I'd have to call Dan Boggle now. I have to call in my favors.
But hey, Kirkwood heard his ears are ringing. He just
I don't blame him. He heard you talking all that junk, man.
No, I think he's mad at you. I'm pretty sure he says it's sickening. First of all, you said he probably missed the part. I don't know if he fast forwarded or just jumped live, but you were saying that he's milking his time
yes,
off.
Dean. When you have a child, the child needs to be fed milk. I don't know if you know that, Dean.
Well, that's not out of what's typically not done by the father. That's my understanding.
Dean, I don't think you know how this stuff works these days, but the mother pre-pumps and the father can.
Sure.
Yes.
There's a direct line.
I don't know what kind of but that's beyond the point. He just now tuned in and heard you talking about all this bidet talk and how
I said he was the number one tout, the DFS tout when it comes to DFS and bidet. That's a compliment by default.
I have to rewind the tape. It sounded a lot worse when I heard it first time.
Ask the court reporter to read it back. I'm pretty sure it was all positive on my end, all complimentary. Hey, Chop, you want to talk about first baseman tonight?
First base. There's some good ones here. So I talked about that Philly stack. Rhys Hoskins. Love Rhys against this left-hander here in whatever at-bats he's going to get against the bullpen. Vlad, it's the best hitter in the lineup with a team that has the highest projected team total. That's fine. Abreu, talked about him a little bit in that stack. Matt Olson, fine. Ty France, if you need to save a little money on. We talked about Degrom, $2,900 per player. Remember that conversation, Dean?
Yeah.
Well, I could get Ty France. Like, what if I could get a team full of Ty Francis because he's $2,900? Like, yeah, something like that. You can't tell me that a Ty France has any less of an opportunity to be really big tonight as opposed to a Matt Olson at 4K. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a little less. Like if they sim the thing out 1,000 times.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I love the old 1,000 sims, guys. Yeah, we're playing one slate, guys.
Well, you said it. You told me. You said you can't tell me.
One slate, guys. I don't need your 10,000 sims on projections. One slate is all we have the courtesy of playing tonight. So, and Christian Walker, obviously he's had an all-star year, so he's in the mix at first base.
I went all Malcolm Gladwell on you there. Hey, producer Devin, Wednesday, don't we typically give something away in the Discord channel? Is that happening today? Is that not happening? Are we slipping? Are we slacking? Are we going to give away on Friday? What's the story?
Dean, now is a good time. I guess I can mention it. This was going to be for the Discord peeps, but there actually has been one running with just about 2.5 minutes left until it's done. We're giving 2 winners, but this was Dean. We were doing it for the Discord peeps, for the diehards that are in there waiting for the contest, waiting for the show. Also,
how would one go about registering for this? We have 2 minutes, Mission Impossible now. How would I go ahead and find this within 2 minutes? Give me the
RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Connect your RG account there, and then you go to the live stream chat channel, and it's right there.
You don't need a premium account or anything, right? I could be a freeloader and still get in on it.
You know what, Dean? As a matter of fact, this is a free channel for anyone to tune into. But don't click it if you've won recently. Let's give some people some chances to win.
I feel like we're on like an infomercial or something like that. Is there more?
I'm waiting to drop my cell phone into the salad that I'm mixing.
We got anything else at first, Chopper? You want to talk about second base, which is again terrible as it always is. Second's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's not great tonight, but I've talked about the Phillies. Gene Segura, I like Gene Segura out there, man. And we get a lefty on the mound out there in Seattle, Detroit, wherever it's playing. So Javier Baez is in play. If it was a right-hander, of course not. But against a lefty, I can give him a shot. Ketel Marte batting leadoff against a left-hander. Don't mind that one. And then just, pure GPP play here. But the Braves youngsters, man, Vaughn Grissom.
Sure.
Give him a shot, man. Why not? So I'll give him a shot.
It's definitely a place to save some salary if you're going double barrel on DK. You got Gordon, who now has second base eligibility on second base, kind of buried in the lineup there, batting 7th, but he's 2.2K. What do you want? Beggars and choosers. Gonzalez dropped all the way down to the 9 spot there for Chicago, but again, he's straight flat 2K. Toro is 2K for Seattle, again, buried in the 8 hole. You mentioned Grissom. He's all the way up now to 3K, and I believe the Royal Massey, he's in the 6th spot. We like lefties versus Lynn, and he's 2K as well. But I wouldn't hate playing a Royal or 2 against Lynn, for the record. I mean, I don't think that's the worst idea. If you're going to do that, I'm not doing that with Dodgers against DeGrom, but I'll do it like the cheap Royals against Lynn, and you're just hoping for Lynn to kind of sort of somewhat survive and be fine and put up his 15 points. That's large field tournament stuff. But anything else here as far as second? There's really, Ketel Marte. I think unless I missed it, I feel like that's the first time he's let off all season. It's possible I missed it, but good to see him leading off there in Arizona. Just you got to pay for it. I think the price on Fanduel is much better, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is part. Yeah, he's in the $2,900 club, Dean.
Yeah,
roster Degrom. I need $2,900 to fill out my lineup per player. He's $2,900.
What do you have as far as third base, Chop?
I got another $2,900 guy for you, Dean, if you really want to. I mean, Josh Donaldson against a left-hander, if he makes the lineup, should be fine. I don't mind that. I prefer a little bit a guy a little bit more expensive is my number 1 guy today, Eugenio Suarez.
Oh, Robin's going to be excited. That's Ross guy. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Okay. Yes. Good for Raw. That's nice. Austin Riley, a bit expensive, and that'll probably at least on, I don't know the price on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, he's a bit expensive, but man, just raw projections, he's up there, man. Austin Riley's just a really good hitter. So he's in the mix. Matt Chapman, part of that big team total out there with Toronto, like that one. And throw in another Philly guy, because if I was running 150 on DraftKings or even on FanDuel, I'd have a lot of Philly stacks and Alec Baum at 3,200 on FanDuel. He'd be in my stack pool for sure.
So the chat was woofing. Some people in chat were woofing earlier. They're like, get on with the hitters. Get on with the stacks. Enough nonsense with pitchers. We still have like almost 25 minutes left, 20-plus minutes until we yield to the Crunch Time crew. You get Dave Potts, two-time millionaire winner. You got SquirrelPatrol, who's been a billion live finals. You got chief meteorologist Kevin Roth, tell you what's going to go on weather-wise. Last I saw, really nothing lurking out there. I dropped it in chat earlier. If anything pops up, of course, I'll let you all know. Now we're gonna have plenty of time. Whatever is on chat's mind, feel free to throw it out there. If you have any sort of strategy questions, if NFL is on your mind, if you want to know what cereal Chop has lined up for later on this evening, I'm sure I'll be happy to answer that. Chop, of course, notoriously has his second dinner with a bowl of cereal. That's still a thing, right, in the Chop household?
Yeah, it's been like that for a while. Starting to, I don't know, Dean. I need to drop a few pounds. I'm wondering if that late night cereal might be something I can ditch, but it's so tough to ditch it. It's so good.
Is it?
It's the spot, man. Whew. Dean, do you eat any cereal?
I mean, I will on occasion, but I haven't in a while. But
you drink milk? You drink milk with it?
Yeah. Well, would you eat the cereal dry?
No, I'm just asking. Some guys do. I wanted to make sure you're not one of those guys that. So, do you have milk? Do you partake in milk on occasion?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I buy it from the store. I don't get it wherever Kirkwood gets his milk.
Whoa! Dang, we didn't even mention Kirkwood. You just brought
mentioned it earlier. It's a callback.
We're in a whole different segment.
Can't keep his name out of your mouth.
Kirky was right. Dean can't keep his name out of your mouth. What I was going for, Dean, was do you do the lactose-free milk or do you just go with regular old whole milk?
I'll bring on the lactose. I'm not going anywhere.
Fair enough. Right.
I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't mean for you to like get all Kirkwood on us, man. Go all Kirkwood, like goodness gracious.
Ask him a question and his hand just immediately reaches for that pot stirring handle.
I can't help myself now, but hey, we killed 2 minutes, and that's the most important thing. B-Shot says, can Dean let Devin talk? Am I not letting you talk, Devin? I even said to you, hey, feel free to join the show whenever you want. Pre-show. Did we not have that conversation?
Usually this is me, just without the camera on, just sitting here listening. It's funny, though, Chop, you asked about if you have with milk or not. When I was younger, that used to be my favorite thing. Saturday morning, getting a cup full of Reese's Puff cereal. One little kernel at a time, eating that, watching some cartoons. That was
now that you mentioned that, there are times here when I feel like I can't wait for that bowl of cereal. So before then, I'll even get another snack, which is just some dry checks, and I'll sprinkle a little powdered sugar on it. Just don't tell my wife, but I'll sprinkle a little powdered sugar. That's just a little dry, like a little finger food until I get to my cereal.
Do you sprinkle each individual checks? That's a
high
maintenance snack.
That's the way to do it. But I don't mess around. I just put it in a little baggie, sprinkle a little sugar, and then mix it up in the baggie so it contains the mess.
Oh, like some puppy food or puppy chow.
Oh, Muddy Buddies are really good. That's puppy chow, Muddy, but same thing. But those are phenomenal. Yeah. But you can buy those in a bag from Walmart. I don't have to mess around. Even though my wife has made that for me at home before, homemade, those are really good.
Devin, when you're watching your cartoons with the Reese's whatever, the Reese's Puffs, what cartoon?
The Reese's whatever. Such disrespect, Ian.
Like, there's no way they duplicate the cereal as opposed to the candy. I've never had the Reese's cereal, but I can't imagine.
It shows.
I feel like it's a big bowl of disappointment. That's just my guess.
Just dig that hole deeper, Dean.
What
terrible?
One of these times, I'm going to get Grant to do a bet against you, and the losing that bet is going to make you eat a box of Reese's Puffs. Live on a show.
To watch, I had to watch George of the Jungle.
Subjected you.
Oh my God, this is a terrible movie.
Hoosiers hang banners.
Yeah.
He says apple slices with peanut butter are a great snack at night. Well, I don't know about snack at night. I don't like to eat after my 9 o'clock cereal, but apples. If you get some apples and cut them up, I like to peel it because I don't want the peel. Some peanut butter and a tortilla, boom, and like fold it like that's. Oh man! Sometimes when I'm feeling like a sweet tooth, I put a little bit of honey in there too. But just the peanut butter, the apples, and the tortilla, like a taco, an apple peanut butter taco. It's good stuff.
Wow, you're like Gizmo. We can't feed you after midnight. Is that what other rules do you have, Chop? How do you feel about bright lights?
What do I need to? You probably like. I know a guy who gets up in the middle of the night and eats. Like wakes up out of his sleep at like 2-3 in the morning. And I think it's just the weirdest thing. You're not supposed to eat heavy meals or eat too much before you go to bed. It's not good. I
know where Chop's coming from. I used to be just reckless, eating food any hour of the night. Now, once I hit 30, it's just like boom. I can't eat late, or else I'm just like so sick the next day, or I just don't sleep well.
The metabolism slowing down on you, Devin, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Hitting me like a ton of bricks.
There you go. Well, you got
30's like half a 60, 60's like dead. So I'm pretty much there, you know.
You're walking more these days because you got a brand new dog, brand new puppy, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, if Chop's worried about putting on the pounds, maybe get yourself a good old German Shepherd. They love to walk.
Well, Chop promised was one of his kids wanted a dog or a cat. I can't remember what animal it was, but they had to get a certain level of grades. And did they ever get there, Chop, or was that a false promise? What happened there?
I gave him every opportunity to pull those grades up. You know, you can't do it like people. They think that's the problem with this country today, Dean. People say things and they don't follow through on it. So when I say you got to make grades, or I'm not going to get like this dog is right there. He's looking at you. He loves you, man. He's coming to you. He wants you to take him home. Get some grades. You think I'm bluffing? I'm not bluffing. You didn't get the grades. I can't get the dog for you. I'm sorry. Try again. You know,
did you have the exact dog picked out too? Like he knows which dog?
Yes, we talked about this. My sister, she
that's right.
holds dogs for a while from the pound when they don't have a home, ready to be adopted. So she had him over there. Man, they hit it off. The dog and my boy. He was going to my boy. Everything was. I just pick up your grades. You got a whole 6 weeks here or whatever. Make some good grades for me. Oh, it's not important enough to you? Well, then I can't get you the dog.
What does he got to get? Like a 3.0? What's the standard?
Dean, I just want just don't get any F's or D's. That's all. I'm not asking for the world here, man.
Come on.
I'm not asking for the world here. Just, and it's not even, I don't even want to go there, but it's not even. I'm fine with D's. Get through school. I'm fine with you getting D's. Get through school. Don't expect me to pay for college, though. That's another thing. If you get D's, I'm not paying for college, but just get through school. But the whole A's and B's, that's for my wife. Because I don't want to listen to her cry about your grades. So that's why that comes in there right there.
He's not getting the UCF with the D's and C's. Just a heads up. I'm not sure if he's applying there, but that's not happening. Maybe Houston.
That's fine. U of H is like 10 times more the academic school than UCF.
He's always got that hand on the handle, ready to go.
Yeah, he's stern, but it's okay. First of all, I'm not
turn the other cheek, Chop.
These kids better pick up their grades in a big way if they think they're going to go out of state. I'm not paying no out of state tuition.
You're also punishing the dog.
He'll find a home
indirectly.
You're stronger than I am, Chomp. I'm a big softy. Once I pick out that dog, it's coming home.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be this way. Right. You have to. You gotta. Your word is your bond these days. You have to respect your word. I hope Kirk's listening. He has a kid now. I hope you're listening. You can't just let him run over you, man. You got to be true to your word.
I think I chased him away. He's very angry with me right now. I think he hasn't stopped. He stopped like 10 minutes ago.
Maybe it's just feeding time. Maybe he's got to go feed.
I mean, the baby's already throwing birds, so yeah, somebody's got the reins in their hands.
Pitcher was awesome. Hey, Chop, shortstop tonight. Who you like at short?
Okay, let's go. Okay, yeah, this is a relatively weak position here. Bo Bichette is fine for me. Dansby Swanson's a bit expensive, but I think raw points he's fine. A couple of guys we mentioned have second base eligibility, so I'm not going to regurgitate them. And Lindor, he's kind of expensive, but I was going to hit on this in the pitcher segment. I think Tyler Anderson's going to regress at some point. If not now, then when the playoffs roll around and they try to roll him out there. So I don't mind him getting beat up a little bit tonight, and I think Lindor could be part of that.
I mean, the Dodgers losing. I mean, I don't know when Kershaw's coming back. Gonsolin is hurt, and they lost Bueller.
Kershaw coming back in about a start or two.
Oh, is he coming back? Okay.
But a bad back, you never know when that can spring up again. So.
Yeah, they might have peaked too early this season. Who knows? Their pitching is thinning out. Of course, their hitters are pretty awesome. we got outfielders to talk about. We're here for the next 10-ish minutes or so. Again, you got the Crunch Time crew coming in behind us. They're going to do the whole thing all over and going to go around the horn, going to answer all your questions. Well, Roth pulls questions first from the Discord Premium channel. Hey, Devin, do we have a winner? We got to have a winner. We got to give a shout out to see who won. Did you happen to have that? Who won 1 week free of RG Premium?
It is a chat regular T from LOC and Danny Boy 18.
There you go. Shout out.
Danny Boy, what a great song by House of Pain.
Wait, that I know. Jump Around. Danny Boy is like that's like a classic. Oh, Danny Boy, or is that's probably a different version of it? I imagine, right?
You're thinking of the Progressive commercial.
House of Pain is before Devin's time, Chopper. He doesn't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Wait, no. Devin, you don't know House of Pain?
No.
Not ringing any bells.
You're kidding me, right?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Have you heard I got him.
Have you heard the song House of Pain? I mean, have you heard the song Jump Around?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's that old, like mid-90s song or something.
Yes, it's by House of Pain.
Yeah. All right. So I have heard them.
They had a really good album at one point. They had a really good album, the first one they put out.
Was that Everlast in House of Pain, or I get those?
Everlast was in House of Pain, yes.
Okay, yeah. And he split off in that big single. I can't remember the song, but like it was.
He became more of a guitar kind of guy after that. Yeah.
This is all from a I'll call this a Chumbawamba era of music.
Chumbawamba was like 2000, I think. Yeah, but that was. What's your favorite Chumbawamba song? Or your second favorite?
Yeah, I was gonna say the second favorite.
I don't know Danny Boy I might have heard it before. It's certainly possible. Casey Douglas in chat says that Kershaw pitches tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's in the majors and the minors or not, but that's good to say. Hopefully, although I'm told people say that he can't pitch in the playoffs anyway. He loses the ability. It's like he turns no pumpkin, strikes midnight, whatever you want to say. But people love saying how terrible he is in the playoffs because of small samples, but whatever. Outfield, Chop. We got a bunch of outfielders that the consider in the slate. And Aaron Judge just keeps hitting homers. They keep pitching to him, and he keeps banging the ball over the fence. He's super expensive, but like he's justifying that price. What is he? I believe he's at 51, if I'm not mistaken, last count as far as banging out homers this season. Well on his way to depending on whatever record you recognize or not. But yeah,
you saw all those sportsbook graphics on Twitter yesterday as well, Dean.
No, what did I miss? I actually don't know.
Aaron Judge 51 homers in the season. I saw that on my Twitter algorithm put like 7 of those different sportsbooks tweeting that same image of him hitting his 51st home run.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it, but I saw the homer and he annihilated it like somewhere in the rock pile there in Anaheim. Of course, there's a lot of other outfielders to consider, Chop. Acuna being back for Atlanta. I like the Toronto side, so Springer. I assume Springer's hitting off again for Toronto. We talked about J-Rod, especially on Fanduel. J-Rod's like 3.6, which is kind of a discount for, I don't know if you want to call him superstar, or he's going to be a superstar soon. He's still just, 21, 22 years old. Your thoughts as far as the upper tier first when it comes to the outfield?
Upper tier. Yeah, you mentioned Julio Rodriguez. He's awesome. And Aaron Judge, you talked about, like, how could he not be your top projected guy? Whether you play him or not is a different story, but, man, he just keeps on hitting home runs. So, yeah, he's up there. Upper tier, like, what are we talking about? Salary? Is that you mean salary? On FanDuel, Giancarlo Stanton is an expensive option, but I don't mind him against the left-hander. Probably going to only play him against left-handers these days.
But like if you're playing Degrom, how much Stanton can you get? Because you can spend up on like one guy.
Well, yeah, that's not really. Well, you could because like we said, there's a lot of these guys. You go right through, and then at the end you'll get to that 2v2. Do I want to do Stanton and a $2,200 guy, or do I want to continue on the path and go to $2,900, something like that? But yeah, he's fine. Like. He's a GPP option. I'm not playing Stan. I wouldn't touch Stan in cash games anymore. Mitch Haniger against the left-hander. He's fine. Well, on FanDuel, this guy's expensive. Michael Harris. I don't know the price on DraftKings.
I think he's 4.2.
Yeah, so it's not bad on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Michael Harris is a little bit expensive. I thought he was going to be in the second spot again tonight, but he's at 6. That's still better than the 7th and the 8th, which he was for a lot of the year. So Michael Harris is in the mix. That's about the top range right there for me. If we're talking about more lower, mid and lower, Lourdes Gurriel batting third, $2,800. Don't mind that one. You got Eloy Jimenez against part of that White Sox stack. And then the two White Sox guys, Pollock and Andrew Vaughn against the left-hander, both, a little bit better against left-handers, maybe a lot better against left-handers, and you get them both tonight. Pretty good spot in the batting order.
Asking me my favorite Mighty Mighty Boston song in the chat. I mean, I know the big single that was really popular, the impression that I get, but I was not a huge Boston fan. That there was, kind of a ska. That was the ska phase that was going on in like the early 2000s, late 90s. Were you a Boston's guy? I know the lead singer. He went on to be the announcer for Kimmel for a while. Dickie Barrett, I believe his name is. They do anything for you, Chop? Who was your favorite band back in the day? Where you weren't a ska? You were not a ska guy. Did ska even hit Texas? I feel like that's not a Texas thing.
God, I don't even know what you're talking about. Ska.
Did ska hit Texas? You're talking about it like it's a hurricane.
Ska it's got pockets, right? I don't think it was big in Texas.
You mean like cumulonimbus clouds have pockets? Like
Garth Brooks is like, go away, ska. I got this covered. This is my turf. I don't know. Maybe hit Austin or something. But you're not aware of the musical stylings of ska, like what that is, that genre?
Some Less Than Jake, some Streetlight Manifesto.
Look at there. Here you go. Look at Devin.
Nope, that doesn't sound
no
familiar
doubt
to
was
me.
Powers in their original form, the horns. No.
Yeah.
I would say, Dean, when I was younger, I was a big rap guy. I like a little rap.
Who was your guy in the 90s or band, I guess?
Yeah, man, lots of them, Dean. It's hard to limit it down, but I was rap. I was a big fan of the Ghetto Boys because they were from Houston and they spent some time in Galveston. So I was a big fan of the Ghetto Boys. I was really into Public Enemy. I like the Public Enemy style. Cypress Hill was pretty good.
Be Real.
Oh man, they were good, man. They were really good when they were younger. So then if you want to change it up and go to like rock, boy, I liked Soundgarden back in the day quite a bit.
Yeah.
Before they broke up and he went Chris Cornell.
Yeah, incredible voice. Just an incredible voice. They're one of those bands that were like more impressive, like than they were. Like I didn't want to listen to them, but I appreciated them. If that made sense, they were fine. But I never really went out of my way to listen to Soundgarden. I saw them at Lollapalooza one year.
I mean, that when it first came out, Black Hole Sun was like the strip club anthem, Dean. Just the anthem, brother.
That's a strip club song? That doesn't feel like one. It is.
Well,
if anybody knows, I yield to you. I can. You
had to be there.
Working the bathrooms. Mother Love Bone was the best Seattle band. Of course, Mother Love Bone. That was the band before Pearl Jam, I believe. Right? That was the pieces of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, I believe. Am I getting my Seattle music history correct? A lot of bands just being thrown out in chat now. Everybody's feeling nostalgic in the chat. I didn't like. It's not that I dislike Soundgarden. They just weren't. I respected them as great musicians. Cornell, incredible voice, but they just, I don't know. Devin, you have a Soundgarden. They weren't.
Get the torches, everybody. Pitchforks and torches.
It's not. I'm not besmirching. They were good. It's just that they weren't the most fun band to listen to. How about that?
You know what was amazing was the Chris Cornell song for the what James Bond movie was it that he was in the theme song or he did the theme song for? You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not sure.
It was one of the more recent ones. I forget the guy's name.
I've never seen a James Bond movie. That's a whole.
You know my name is the name of the song, and it's from Casino Royale. That's what it is.
Okay, I hear that's one of the better ones. I've seen a ton of movies, but for whatever reason, I've never seen a Bond movie. Maybe one day. We'll knock
wow, Dean, that's a wild take to pull out at the last 5 minutes of the show. You've never watched James Bond?
I mean, I'm aware. Like he likes his martinis shaken and not stir. I get that.
God.
He's kind of a womanizer, I believe. But I don't know.
So Dean, not a huge fan of Octopussy.
Wasn't it Dr. Octopussy, if I'm not mistaken?
Look at that. It's the Crunch Time crew.
Right on cue.
Wait,
right on cue.
Pause, guys. Stop whatever's happening. I just when we came on, did you say you've never seen any James Bond movie?
That is correct. Yeah, like I've said this on Twitter once, and people were like coming at me like,
But you're like a person who watches things. That's the
I watch
thing.
a lot of movies. Yeah, like you can name a movie. There's a pretty good chance
crazy.
I've seen it. Yeah.
That
What's your favorite Bond movie? What should I see? What should I watch? What do you recommend?
I don't even think it matters. I would start with no, I don't know. I don't think it matters. Like if you're anyone, you're either going to like it or you're not. I don't.
You a Connery guy or a Daniel?
I would
Craig
tell
guy?
you to go with Pierce actually.
Pierce Brosnan. Okay.
Yeah.
I played GoldenEye on Nintendo once.
That counts.
I don't know if that counts or not. Squirrel, you got a favorite? You got a favorite Bond movie you like?
Casino Royale.
Okay, there you go. That seems like the chalk. Is Roth with us? I don't see Roth's picture. Is he not here, Devin?
I believe he might be on baby duty. I think I heard babies in the background and hit mute on his mic. So
yeah.
The Daniel Craig movies, Dean, are different. They're great, and I love them. But they're like for that to be your first Bond film, I think takes you a little off of what James Bond really is. He's like I'm some expert, but that's just my initial take on it.
They have like a certain band or a musician, you need like a starter song, like the first song, like there's a introduce you to the world. And this is that person that best encapsulates them. So like you're saying, like the Daniel Craig stuff, it doesn't necessarily encapsulate Bond. To me, that's not the first place to go. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he has sort of his own unique take on Bond that to me is different than where he sort of started.
Dean, GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, yeah. Devin knows what he's talking about.
Well, the Daniel Craig Bond is more like gritty, and the Bond of past is all suave. And Daniel Craig isn't like suave, and it's not the same. It's different. I agree.
Yeah, it's just it's different kind of Bond. But you should really what are you doing?
Wait. I
was at Grant's place. Grant had me watch George of the Jungle starring Brendan Fraser. This is what I was subjected to. I could have been watching Bond the whole time.
Yeah. Yikes.
But, what if I like gritty more than I like suave? Still,
you probably should. You probably will.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you watched them all and said, "Oh, Daniel Craig is by far your favorite Bond." I think he might be, but I'm still not sure that's where you start. Like maybe you start with the more cool, collected Pierce Brosnan, and then you're like, "Yeah, this is okay," but I don't really get it. And then you watch Craig, and you're like, "Oh, I get it."
It feels like they went in a Mission Impossible direction, whereas original 007 was kind of that's its own sort of theme.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, fair. I guess I was gonna watch The Shield. That's another big undertaking. That's one of those shows everybody tells me I should watch. I've never seen it. Can anybody give me an endorsement of The Shield?
I watched like a season. It was good. I don't know.
All right. Chop, you got anything else before you step aside and yield for the Crunch Time crew?
Just that I thought it was just a tad bit disrespectful to Roger Moore that he didn't get mentioned as a Bond.
I mean, he's always the afterthought. If you're going to power rank the Bond guys, I feel like he's kind of the last one. Is that fair to say, Dave?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I don't know.
Chop is on behalf of Roger Moore and his family. He's insulted. He's outraged. You guys did not give him a head nod. Crunch Time Crew, starring Kevin Roth, starring Dave Potts, starring Squirrel Patrol. It starts now. Myself and Chop. We're going to see ourselves out, and maybe I'll knock out a Bond movie tonight. Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time Crew starts now. Go for it, Roth.
Appreciate it. It's literally always a good decision to just watch a Bond flick. So enjoy that. Have a good time with it. We are going to have a good time because that's it. It's Crunch Time. It's sponsored by FanDuel, and we're joined by two of the very sharpest minds in the entire industry. One, it is Mr. Dave Potts, a.k.a. Cheese is Good. How are you, Cheese? This is 3 nights in a row for me. I feel spoiled.
It is. Yeah, Cardi was supposed to be tonight, but he had something pop up, so we swapped. So you'll get him an extra time next week.
Okay.
I think he just didn't want to have to try to tell you who to play between Degrom and Cole and Lance Lynn. I honestly, what it really is, if you look at the bat projections, he did not want to have to tell you that you're supposed to play Anibal Sanchez because he would have had to say it. And you can't say that out loud with a straight face.
Took the coward's route out, but we don't blame him for that. Hey, we also have the one, the only, the live final master. It is Squirrel Patrol joining us. Squirrel, how are you?
Good. How's my internet doing? Can you guys hear me?
Good. Yeah, no, it seems fine.
You look fantastic.
Yeah.
So whatever lighting package you're using, amazing.
Looking
just
sharp.
the standard like ring light off Amazon.
Those things.
And copious like tanning booths. No.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Guys, happy to have you both here. Let's. There's no weather to discuss, which is nice. But if there was, I'd get it right because I'm on a heater. But there isn't any. So we can kind of just skip past that whole segment and section, and we can dive into the slate in general. Cheese, I would love just a generic breakdown. I should add the warning that I added yesterday. There's going to be kids screaming today. Like, it's still not great at the Roth household. So I'm sorry about that. Cheese, what are we going to do about this slate?
This is a super fascinating pitching slate with only a small pool of players. It's still like, I love how interesting it is. You could have several different takes and they're all reasonable. But just having Degrom against the Dodgers in general gets me ready for October. I mean, this is just a fantastic matchup. And then there's plenty of offense to like too. It's kind of a like split where you can play all these pitchers, you can play all these offenses, and then just a few things to cross out on either side.
Okay. Well, you said you can make a case for anything. Does that include Anibal Sanchez, the card he play, or?
So I actually do wish he was on the show because I honestly don't know if he would say that he thinks Anibal is necessary on this slate. I think because, going to the bat projections, how much it likes Lance Lynn, I think would be good enough to say just play Degrom and Lynn as the cash game combo. What's interesting, so the RG projections have Cole slightly ahead of Degrom, whereas the bat projections have Degrom way up top and even Lynn ahead of Cole. What I'm doing with this, like, to me, Degrom is so much better than everybody.
Yeah,
it's silly. And really the ownership is going to be pretty well split between Degrom and Cole. I think you just play Degrom first. If you need the money, I'm totally fine with Cole. But like Degrom, there is no matchup where he's not the best pitcher.
And she's help me out here. Catch me up on how stretched out he is. Has he thrown 100 pitches yet? Like, is he good?
And high 90s. Like he is not on a pitch limit tonight. Like theoretically, he probably won't go more than 95 to 100. But 95 pitches from Degrom is 120 from anyone else.
Right.
It really is.
Okay.
There's essentially no limit.
Okay. Then what else are we looking at? Because you mentioned there's kind of a lot.
Yeah. So basically, there's two little groups. There's Degrom, Cole, kind of on their own, and then there's Lance Lynn and Joe Ryan as a step down. And on DK, you can put Kyle Wright in there too. He's kind of in the middle, pricing wise. And then you drop way down to nonsense Anibal Sanchez. For me, because of Lynn and Ryan being around 8K, like on DraftKings, it's 8K for Lynn, 8.5 for Ryan, and then on FanDuel, they're both right around 9K. I like a lot of cheap bats, so I just simply don't need the salary. Like I don't have any trouble making a lineup on DK with one of Degrom and Cole and one of Lynn and Ryan. And on FanDuel, I don't have any need to go lower than Lynn. So personally, I have zero Anibal Sanchez or any of the other cheap nonsense. But theoretically, like he could get, 10, 12, even 15 DK points. So then you're trying to decide, do you really need that salary? I don't think you do enough. Like to me, it's more a raw points pitching slate than a points per dollar. So those five pitchers I mentioned, Degrom, Cole, Lynn, Ryan, and Wright, that's 100% of my personal pitching pool.
Okay, Squirrel, let me get your takes here. What are you doing both up at the top, and then what are you doing a little shadier?
Yeah, I think that was really well said. It's rare that you get like two aces like this, but they both really deserve it. And like this is the kind of ace that I don't like to like mess around with. Unless the really expensive bats go off and like something shocking happens with pitching, like you're really just best off like sticking to Cole and Degrom. I'm probably going to have very few like pitching spots taken up beyond the top four pitchers. Because like there's just like you can just do it. Like even if you're doing 150 lineups, like you can kind of fit everything in. I mean, I like Degrom. I probably like Cole, for matchup and ownership and price. I like Cole a little bit more than Degrom, but it's going to be super close. It's probably unknowable, like which one's going to do better. Maybe for single entry to go with Degrom. But I'm probably going to end up with like a little bit more Cole than Degrom just based off of price and matchup. I like Joe Ryan probably more than Lance Lynn because I think they're essentially the same, but I think Lance Lynn's going to be way higher owned. And that's kind of it. You can drop down a little bit, like, throw in some Kyle Wright, maybe some Patrick Sandoval, but like very minimal amount of pitchers beyond the top four that I mentioned.
Okay, quick question for both of you. How much Degrom Cole together do you have, Squirrel?
I have a lot, and that's the thing.
Okay.
Like you can actually fit in, the bats that you want. There's just a lot of cheap guys, so you can fit in, and like those cheap guys could hit home runs, whereas it's just really unlikely Degrom and Cole just fall completely flat.
Gotcha. Cheese, do you have them paired together a lot, or are you going like one pricey?
No, almost entirely. I like the cheap bats. Honestly, the first lineup I made today, I kind of throw together like, what would I do? Just throw one in. I don't have time to look at it. It was Degrom, Cole, Judge with salary left over. I'm not even kidding. Like it's just not hard to spend the money.
Okay, gotcha. All right, fair enough. All right, well then let's talk about some of the stacks here. And Squirrel, you can lead us off. What is the chalk? Is there chalk? And what do you like that's not?
So I think, let's see. It depends how many people are trying to like fit Degrom and Cole together. I think the team with like the highest projection is going to be Toronto. And I think Atlanta is going to be right behind them in popularity. They're a little bit expensive for me. And I'm not that sold on them. And they're both home teams as well. So if they do score a lot of runs, like they're not going to get that ninth inning. So I'm looking at some road teams for both price and, for upside. I like Seattle a lot. I like the White Sox and Arizona, particularly on DraftKings, where you can make a good like White Sox Arizona stack with Cole and Degrom. I like the Yankees. I think they're going to go completely overlooked. They're on the road, and they're facing Patrick Sandoval, so I think they're not going to be very popular. I mean, like they have Aaron Judge. The lineup's not out yet, too, or at least it wasn't last time I checked. So that tends to suppress ownership like as much as you can on the Yankees. And then Philadelphia as well, another road team. They get a little bit of a park downgrade, but they're going to get the ninth inning. So those I guess 4 or 5 teams are teams I probably going to have equal to or more ownership than the Toronto and Atlanta.
Beautiful. Okay, Cheese. So where do you stand on that? Toronto, Atlanta, is that your 1-2, or are you also looking elsewhere?
Atlanta's my 1, but I do think if there's chalk, I think it's Atlanta. Toronto ends up being a little harder to fit because there's only one cheap Atlanta bat on DK. It's Biggio. Everyone else is really priced up. So that's Toronto and the Phillies are the 2 teams where it's tough to get Degrom and Cole, and either Degrom or Cole on Fanduel. So I think that pushes Atlanta up, and I think it pushes Arizona and the White Sox up in ownership as well.
Okay. Any other teams you want to mention that you have?
Those are my main ones as well. Same ones Squirrel mentioned. I look forward to finishing right behind him as per usual tonight.
Okay, great. All right, let's go position by position, guys. We have oodles and oodles of time. So Squirrel, Cheese, why don't you talk a little bit of catcher for us?
All right. As we've been seeing just a lot, it's just a pretty good position. Like, I don't feel like you're just playing any random thing.
I do believe Big Dumper went yard last night.
He does pretty much every night, and he's a good play again tonight. We got 2 Oakland A's catchers that are viable, which is weird, but they are. Real Muto's kind of an unnecessary spend outside of Philly stacks. I love Alejandro Kirk, but he's also expensive on DK. I do like Kirk on Fanduel where he's not expensive. I'm not as high on the Royals today as I was yesterday, but their catchers are certainly in play. And then you can do cheap stuff. Eric Haas is interesting. Keibert Ruiz is interesting. Yes, Manny Grandal, and then Cooper Hummel for Arizona.
Squirrel, do you have a Kirk take there? Did I notice a Kirk take from you? Or was it a sneeze? Oh, it was a sneeze. I thought it was a violent disagreement or agreement. I couldn't tell it. Just a sneeze.
No. I was like shocked I figured out the mute button. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, walk me through catcher, please.
Sure. So, yeah, Salvador Perez is always my favorite catcher because he's the guy that can really break a slate. I do like Big Dumper. In terms of value plays, yeah, it's Cooper Hummel, the Oakland Langoliers, and
Langelier.
Langelier, please. The French pronunciation.
Langelier.
We'll give it to you. Anything else? Sorry, I cut you off to make fun of your pronunciation.
No. That pretty much wraps up catcher.
Okay, take me to first base.
So first base, Matt Olson is going to be pretty popular in the Atlanta stack. He's going to be one of those Atlanta bats. I like Luke Voigt, always some home run potential. He's more of a value bat and not going to be very highly owned at all just because nobody likes to play Nationals, but I think he's a good one-off. And if you're doing one-offs, that allows you to like fit in cheap one-offs with power. Like that allows you to fit in the Degrom and Cole. Rhys Hoskins, because I do like the Phillies stack. And then pair of first baseman for the White Sox, Andrew Vaughn and Jose Abreu, I think will be somewhat popular, but I need it justifiably.
All right, Cheese, what do you like at first?
So Vlad, Hoskins, and Olson are kind of the three primary guys, and the pricing is different. Like on FanDuel, Hoskins is cheap, whereas on DK, all those Phillies are priced up more on DK. So I want to get as much Hoskins on FanDuel and more to Olson on DK where he's cheaper. But those three guys are who I like. Christian Walker is my favorite mid-tier guy. Abreu's interesting. And there's punts at every position on DK that you don't need on FanDuel. But I prefer them elsewhere than at first. But I think you can get down to like Luke Voigt, even Dermis Garcia for Oakland, or Nick Pratto again for the Royals if you need a 2K first baseman.
Okay. Second base. I got a question. I'm looking at these implied run totals, and I see that the Dodgers is slightly under 3. Of course, they're going against Degrom. So, Cheese, if this was the worst hitting team, who was the worst hitting team? Was it Pittsburgh or what?
Can I say the White Sox? The Tigers. The Tigers are the worst.
Okay, so let's say it was Degrom against the Tigers. What would their implied run total be? I'm just
0.1. No, honestly, it would be like right around 2.
Right around. Okay, I was wondering if it ever got below 2.
I'm not sure if it would, but it would be around 2.
Okay,
and I would take the under.
Completely unrelated. I was just curious. You'd take the under.
I mean, it's pretty crazy to see the Dodgers at that. I mean, that's just how good Degrom is.
Right. I expected that to be a terrible team. And then when it clicked, I was like, wait, that's the Dodgers under 3. That's absurd. Okay. Anyways, take me to second base, please.
Yeah. I'm glad Alex was watching. I saw him on you. He's the reason I said, can we say the White Sox? Okay. Anyway, second base, very different between the sites. On FanDuel, the air quotes good second basemen are only $3,000. It's Baez, Ketel Marte, Torres, LeMahieu, and Segura. You can really play one of those guys on FanDuel because they're only $3K, and the cheap guys are a little over 2. On DK, those top guys who aren't great are more like 4 to 5K. So there, I like the 2K guys better. I like Massey, Toro, and who is the third guy? Nick Gordon. And then also Vaughn Grissom. So basically, it's not really spending up, but spend up-ish in FanDuel and spend down on DK.
Excellent. Squirrel, second base?
Yeah, so I think I like Ketel Marte on both sites the best. Nick Gordon on DraftKings, second base eligible, is only 2,200, sitting 7th for Minnesota, which is a little bit down in the order, but he went absolutely berserk yesterday. And then, Michael Massey for the cheap value play.
Okay. Third base.
Third base. So Austin Riley will be popular, but he's very pricey. So he's part of that Atlanta stack, but it's a little bit difficult to fit him in. Eugenio Suarez. I like him. I like the Seattle bats. They're going to be guaranteed 9 innings, road team, good matchup against the left-hander. Bobby Witt Jr., some guy I always like. He's got power. And then let's see. Josh Donaldson, like the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to be pretty underowned. I think the lineup just came out.
Okay, Cheese third.
I love Suarez and Riley. Those are definitely the two guys I want to spend up on. And then on FanDuel, Matt Chapman at 31 is another guy I really want to get. Alec Boehm, like a lot of the Phillies, he's cheap on FanDuel, but I prefer Chapman over him as a one-off. And then more on DK, but also on FanDuel if you need something cheap, Emmanuel Rivera is the go-to cheap guy.
Wonderful. Take me to shortstop, Cheese.
It's pretty well bunched up with I have Swanson first, and then Bichette, and then Baez, and then Bobby Witt. I don't like the shortstop punts as much as I like the punts at pretty much every other position. So I'm mostly spending up to at least where Baez is at, if not a little above. And the cheap stuff is pretty much just in stacks for me.
All right, Squirrel, short.
See, hold on, just lost my screen. Shortstop. Yeah, I think Dansby Swanson's going to be one of the higher projected, probably higher owned guys. He's in that Atlanta stack. Bobby Witt Jr. also shortstop eligible. If you're looking to save money, Romy Gonzalez with the White Sox, he's unfortunately not leading off. He's hitting ninth. Or Elvis Andrus for just 500 more is leading off. CJ Abrams guy with Washington. He hasn't hit so far, but he's a highly regarded prospect. He's got the platoon advantage, can always steal a base if he gets on. And yeah, that about wraps up shortstop.
Okay. Are we in the outfield or is it Cheese's turn at short?
I think it's my turn to lead off outfield.
Okay. What do you like?
So yeah, I like Aaron Judge a lot. Like he just keeps hitting home runs.
Squirrel with the hot take. And that's why we have you on the show.
Like he's probably not going to get the ownership he should. I mean, he was like,
it's crazy.
He was minimally owned last night, like single digit ownership. There was no reason for that because I think people are going to try to get in all these other, the Acuna. I think I like Julio Rodriguez as well. But yeah, like Judge is not going to be as owned as he should be. So I think you should play him. I think if you want to pair him with some other Yankees, I think you can do that as well. And it's like it says, like it seems obvious, but people aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
In terms of the value bets in the outfield, waiting for my Stone Garrett with Arizona, only 2,100, so close to the minimum. Nick Gordon with Minnesota. I mean, but you might want to play him at second base instead of the outfield. And then Chad Pinder is hitting cleanup for Oakland at only 2,000.
Okay, great. Cheese, real quick. Sometimes you talk about guys where you're like, at that price, he'd have to hit 2 home runs to matter. Is that Judge tonight, or like you'd rather just get a guy who hits a home run at 3K than whatever he is? I imagine 6K.
Yeah. So the difference with Judge and the guys we usually say it with is like 1 home run is almost the expectation. So Judge hitting 2 is the same as Acuna or Springer or Haniger hitting 1. It really is. So yes, he is at.
So you're saying it's legitimately possible that he goes ahead and does it anyways,
right? So yeah, 1 home run is not going to pay off Judge's salary, probably in the context of the slate. But he's the only guy that you can realistically say he should hit 2 home runs. I mean, really, it's or do what he did last night. I don't know, it was a homer and then 3 other hits or something like.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Tell me what else you like in the outfield.
And I do totally agree with what Squirrel said. Like he's just not as high owned as he should be, mostly because everything gets played in stacks. And you'll see more Atlanta. So Acuna will steal ownership from him. And you'll see more Toronto. So Springer will steal ownership from him. Other than him, I think on FanDuel, Julio Rodriguez is going to be popular because of the salary. I like him and Haniger a good bit. And then I like the Blue Jays outfield, but I don't love spending up on Springer. I don't love Gurriel outside of stacks, and I don't love that Teoscar's hitting 7th. So they're kind of all just, yeah, I like them, but I don't like when I actually look at my lineups, I don't have that much. This is where I'm mostly going cheap, at least on DraftKings. FanDuel has more around the 3K range, especially like with the White Sox. Even being the worst team in the league by far, the White Sox should still get a home run or two tonight from like Jimenez and Vaughn and Pollock. All those guys are just really nicely priced. I know that someone watching thinks that they have a lot of Stone Garrett tonight, but you don't. You wish you had as much Stone Garrett as I did. And I also like Pinder. I like Lane Thomas. There's so many cheap outfielders. It's glorious, like Eddie Rosario and Robbie Grossman. This is what makes it so easy to play Degrom and Cole, is all these 2K outfielders that are good. These aren't just nonsense punts.
Right. Okay. And to my earlier question, I had someone in Discord, let's see, Chinatown say, is Judge being priced there an argument against playing him in cash? Like, would it make sense to just play a good 2K guy instead in cash, Cheese?
Well, the thing is, that's because the 2K guys are good. You may as well play Judge because you can afford them. Because the 2K guys are good, Judge plus a 2K is better than 2 4K guys.
I see. Okay. All right. Good answer. All right. Give me one team to win it all. Cheese, you can start.
Oh, thank you. Atlanta is kind of the obvious-ish answer. I'll say Arizona.
Okay. Let's see. Squirrel, what do you like? One to win it all.
Gonna go with the Yankees.
Very nice. Okay. Let's get to some QQs here. We've got 16 or so minutes. So feel free to ask whatever you'd like. Let's get to it here. Squirrel at second, punt. He says no McKenzie. I think it means maybe punt to McKinstry. Yeah, I just saw he's hitting leadoff for Chicago. So can you punt to McKinstry?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if he's like guaranteed to get 9 at bats. Like I know Cardi has a pinch hit percentage, like risk field on the bat, so you might want to check that out. And if you want to pivot, like I think Michael Massey and Nick Gordon might be like safer pivots in that same price range at second base, but like McKinstry is absolutely viable as well.
Great. Okay. Michael says, hey, question for Cheese. Do you think that the bat projection of Lance Lynn matching and or coming close to Cole is asking for too much on FanDuel? Like, is it crazy to just not play one of Cole?
No, it's not great. Like you're just betting on Degrom and Cole not getting a ceiling game. And if they don't, then Lynn or Ryan will probably be the winning play. I mean, I would certainly project Cole ahead of Lynn.
Yeah.
But it's not great. Like Lynn is striking out a bunch of guys and he's not walking anybody. So even giving up a couple homers, he's got some upside.
Yeah. It just seems like one of those guys, Degrom or Cole, is
that's the thing. When there's two of them that are that good, chances are one of them goes nuts, if not both of them.
Yeah. All right. DKGPP Squirrel, this one's for you. M. Taylor versus Waters.
Is Taylor hitting leadoff? Sorry.
No, but he's like fifth, I think.
Okay. I'd probably go with Michael A. Taylor.
Okay. Excellent. FanDuel cash question for you, Cheese, from NBA DFS. Reese and Bohm or Kirk and Riley?
That's so close. I would Reese and Bohm.
Okay, great. Jay says aloha. Aloha back to you.
Oh, bonjour.
DK single entry Squirrel stacking Arizona. In fact, Cheese, was Arizona your second favorite team to win it all, or am I making that up?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So then, Cheese, I'm giving this one to you then. I'm stacking Arizona. Marte Pollock or Glaber Varsho?
Marte Pollock.
Very good. Okay. Squirrel is not playing both Cole and Degrom, getting a little too cute for tournaments.
No, it depends on the size of the tournament. If it's a smaller tournament, I would play one of them. Like, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely possible that like one of Cole and Degrom has a bad game and the other like leaves with an injury or something, or or pitches like 5, kind of labors through 5 innings and doesn't get the win or something like that. So it is possible, but it's less possible than it usually is with the top pitchers. Like, I think people are more likely to just have a mindset of like, aces sometimes get roughed up. I'm gonna pivot at pitcher because these guys are gonna be overowned. Like, these are the guys that should be driving up ownership at pitcher.
Great. Okay. Who's the shortstop punt in FanDuel Cash? There are such gentlemen in this range as Gordon, Andrews, or Garcia.
I would Garcia out of those, but that's again, shortstop is my least favorite position to punt.
Okay. Wow. All right. Weeble, FanDuel Cash, Squirrel. Haas is a 3v3. Hoskins, Marte, and C. Santana, or Kirk, Baez, and Voit.
I think Hoskins and Marte, like, these are two of my favorite plays on FanDuel. So
great. Okay. Aside, FanDuel Cash 3v3. Cheese, this one for you. Ty France, Riley, and Judge, or Vladdy, Suarez, Springer.
Vladdy, Suarez, Springer.
Very nice. FanDuel single entry. Let's see. Squirrel, do you want the big dumper, Kyle Raleigh, or Pollock? P.S. I've already got Rodriguez and Haniger in the lineup.
Oh, then I'd go with Raleigh. I mean, I like AJ Pollock. He's like very well priced, but I'd go with the correlation with the other two Seattle bets.
Okay. DK Cash, and this was already touched upon, but Achilles says McKinstry or Massey. And Squirrel, I feel like you said McKinstry is an okay punt, or you could pivot to Massey.
I think I prefer Massey, but they're very similar.
Okay.
I mean, McKinstry is leading off, so there's a potential of getting an extra at bat. There's also the possibility he gets pinch hit for, and then you lose an at bat.
Okay, so you slightly
Massey.
To Massey. Okay,
Slightly
fair enough.
Massey.
Cheese, do you have a strong take there, or just no?
I also prefer Massey.
Very nice. Okay, Cheese. Hey guys, DKGPP from Amateur Hour 3v3. Wright, Baez, and M. Taylor, or Sando, Nicky Lopez, and MJ Melendez.
Right, Baez, Taylor.
Great. Okay. Beast Mode says, what is your opinion, Squirrel, on stacking a single game in a GPP single entry? So
yeah,
I think maybe he means both sides of the game.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely viable because what you want is an extra innings or just a back and forth game. You just got to pick a reasonable game for it. And then there's an argument if you're playing a home offense, you're losing some at bats unless the road offense also does well, right? Like if the home team's winning, they're not going to bat in the ninth inning. So you kind of playing the road team, if it's reasonable, maximizes that home offense.
Interesting. We would also like to point out that there is not a game stack so much as only do it if you like both teams. This is just Cheese's argument here because I've heard the rant. Unless it's a weather game, in which case, or like Squirrel, you can hope for extra innings. But in a weather game, like in Wrigley, if the winds are blowing out, then hey, game stack it up. Okay, let's see. DK Cash, Yeisman, Cheese, McKinstry and Riley, or Ketel Marte and E. Rivera.
I am on Marte Rivera.
Okay. Making you work for this one, Squirrel. DK Cash, best outfielder at 3,600 or less. I've already got Gordon and Pollock.
3,600 or less?
Mm-hmm.
Stone Garrett.
Oh, very nice. Yes, Cheese approves of Stone Garrett.
And you can take that $1,500 and go spend it on a hibachi.
Hey, didn't the prospect for the Orioles just get called up today?
I think so, but I don't think Baltimore's on the slate.
Okay. Okay. Because when that guy gets to playing, I'm all in. I'm gonna Stone Garrett him and just 100% of that dude. FanDuel GPP last man in, Andrews or Gordon? Cheese.
Gordon.
J Sam's FanDuel single entry, Squirrel. Since Bubic is so bad versus lefties, are you prioritizing Sheets in your White Sox stack? He doesn't look good versus left-hand pitching, or just play and get different with guys like Grindal and Pollock. Why is Sheets ceiling projection right behind Bryce.
I like Pollock better. Don't like Grandal as much. I'd prioritize like Pollock as the guy. Just like particularly price considered that I want in that.
Okay.
In that way.
Very good. Cheese, do you have something to add there? I feel like
No, like I don't think you need to say you prioritize Sheets, but I would say he is good because of Bubika's splits, and he'll be a little sneakier. So I mean, I like him in there, but not to the point where I'd say prioritize him.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Let's see. Large field FanDuel GPP Cheese. How condensed is your shortstop pool? You said you do not like shortstop, or at least you like spending up at shortstop. How condensed is your pool?
On FanDuel, I believe I don't think I have a single person other than Swanson or Baez outside of a stack on FanDuel.
Okay. That is fairly condensed. All right. Prodigy FanDuel single entry. By the way, Salvi Perez scratched. Do we care?
I mean, he's certainly if you're stacking the Royals, he was in there. Probably helps Lynn a little bit more. It's relevant.
Okay, great. Where were we? Okay, FanDuel single entry Squirrel. This one's for you. Cole Garrett or Lynn Judge?
Ooh. I'll go Cole Garrett. That's a good one. I just don't love Lance Lynn a lot. Now that Salvador Perez is out, I don't know. I'd still go Cole Garrett, but that's a good one.
Okay, great. Michael says, question for tournaments. How do they feel about A's full stacks today? Are either of you gentlemen on board with an A's stack?
Maybe 150.
Yeah, they're the team that you throw in some guys as needed for salary, which lands me on a few mini stacks. I don't think you make it a point to full stack them though. But I have a bunch of little 2 or 3 man stacks for salary to fill things out.
Great. Okay. JMVP says better one-off Stanton or Haniger DK single entry. I feel like this should almost be a 2v2. Oh, no. Stanton. Sorry, I was thinking Judge. Better one-off Stanton or Haniger. Cheese, you can have that one.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to say Haniger. I'm not down on Stanton because he hasn't homered in a while. Like some people are. This is just what he does. He could hit 7 home runs tonight. But I would say Haniger slightly ahead of him.
Okay. Nbad says FanDuel cash. Squirrel, you like Ketel Marte or Baez?
Oh, Ketel Marte.
Okay. And FanDuel cash Cheese, 3 Seattle bats too much tonight, in your opinion?
I mean, I wouldn't have that many. It's not horrendous, but I would not have 3 now.
Okay. Achilles DK Cash, Riley Vaughn or Rivera Judge? Squirrel, Riley Vaughn or Rivera Judge in cash?
Rivera Judge.
Very nice. FanDuel cash Cheese. This one is for you, good sir. Vladdy or Olsen?
Whoosh. Yes. In cash, take I guess Vlad.
Okay, great. Amateur Hour DK GPP Squirrel says I'm playing Baez, so do I add Haas or one-off Monsieur Langelier instead?
I do Haas for the correlation.
Is it because you didn't want to pronounce
Langelier?
Yeah. Oh, that's good. You nailed it there. All right. Hey, we caught up on all the questions in the Discord. If you've got some, get them in here. I'm jumping on over to the old YouTube chat. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, this is free. We got hundreds and hundreds. We got tens of thousands of people watching, maybe. So hit the like button right there. We only have 90 likes. That's silly. I don't want to beg for likes, but it's a free show. Hit like. All right. Cheese Asol says Santana Pollock or Voight Kemp. He did not say a site or a format.
Santana Pollock or Voight Kemp? Santana Pollock.
Okay. My boy Cleveland Picker. He's picking. He's going to garage sales. He's finding good
I still
things.
think he's a guitar player, but go on.
He's not a good. He is not. I know this because I asked him. What are your thoughts on an Angels Tigers stack with Degrom on FanDuel? And then he did not just say squirrel. He put a beautiful little squirrel emoji.
I don't think even if you like want to get Degrom, you have to go like that off the board in terms of the stacks.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I guess there's a thought that you're going against Cole with the Angels, but they're just the offense just isn't that good to justify it.
Yeah. Okay. Connor Adams says, Cheese, do I stack the Braves or the White Sox? Well, I feel like the answer there is the Braves. And then who is the better pick, Eloy or Pollock?
You stack the Braves.
Mhm.
And I'm still going with Eloy over Pollock.
Okay, great. Mark Sanchez says, Squirrel, Andrews, Grissom, or Abrahams and Thomas in DKG, unless that's one person, Andrews, Grissom versus.
And that's probably Abrams and Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Father Abrams had many sons.
I think I'm going to go with Abrams, Thomas, but it might like I'm wearing my Nationals shirt, like it's a homer thing.
Okay, that's fair. That's allowed. Brett says, Cheese, FanDuel GPP Melendez or Prato in the util slot.
Melendez.
Okay. Connor says, what do you guys think about Kaprelian against the Nats for 6,700? I feel like you think you don't need it because there's too many good pitchers, but Cheese, tell me what you think about it.
That is exactly what I would say. Yes. It's the same thing as the Anibal Sanchez thing. Like two bad pitchers against two bad offenses. It's possible one of them gets 12 to 15 points, but I don't think you want that tonight.
Okay. All right. Achilles, DK Cash, Squirrel. This one is for you, good sir. 3v3. Haas, Riley, Rosario, or Hummel, Rivera, Judge.
I think the second one.
Great. Mr. Perfect, DK Sing Entry. Is it okay to run Springer, Hernandez, or Haniger, Julio?
Yes. I don't know if that's an either or question or I like both combos.
Okay.
If you're asking me an either or, I like Haniger Julio better, but I like the full Toronto stack better.
Okay, we have a wonderful post-lock question coming up. We'll get to that shortly. But NFL DFS says, FanDuel GPP, Big Dumper, Kyle Raleigh, and Degrom, or Suarez and Cole. Squirrel?
I'd Suarez and Cole.
You got to go with the Dumper and Degrom.
Are you extending?
Give me the Dumper and Degrom, baby. All right, we're just inching up on lock. Let me see if we can squeeze in one more YouTube question here. Squirrel, DJ or Benintendi?
DJ.
LeMahieu, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Benintendi.
Okay.
They're facing a lefty. LeMahieu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Hey, guess what, gentlemen? You have made a wonderful, wonderful show. Excellent work. Question coming in from Desired. What is your favorite candy? I don't know the answer quite yet, but I'm going to figure it out. So, Cheese, I'm throwing this to you.
Yeah, that's a big question because it really depends on the day. Like, there's not just the one candy that's always my favorite candy.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you my off the board answer. Like a thing that I just love that some people just don't even consider is dots.
Dots, like the things you rip from the paper?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Dots. They're little gummies. They're little gummies. It's like a movie theater candy.
Okay.
That's kind of my off the board answer. But I don't even know how to answer that. There's so many. What I want to eat right now today is a caramello bar.
What are these candies you're choosing? Dots and a caramello bar?
You don't know that it's milk chocolate with caramel in the middle. It's
that
amazing.
Sounds delicious.
It's great, and it's Cadbury eggs at Easter time. That's one of those, like, if those were out all the time, I would not want to eat those all year, but like once a year for like a week. Yes, that was pretty great.
It's just kind of fun to have a dessert or a snack that only comes around once a year.
Yeah.
You get excited about it. You go, ooh, I've been looking forward to it. I'm going to have to go with like a Reese's Pieces. I love some Reese's Pieces. I'll eat them until I get literally ill. And then I love Butterfinger, but it just destroys the teeth. It just, all that, it gets in there and like you got to scrape the tooth to try to get the peanut butter part out. Flavor wise, it's fantastic, but just not too fun to eat. Squirrel, let's finish the show on a high note. What is your favorite candy, good sir?
I'll go a little bit off the board. I like Whoppers, like the malt covered in chocolate.
Another sort of like, to me, that's a movie theater candy. Like you go to the movie theater, they should have dots and Whoppers if they know what they're doing.
Whoppers are interesting because I feel like maybe you get 19 in a row that are nice and crunchy, and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. You're crunching them, and then you get one that's like soft. Does that ever happen to you? You get like,
you got to store them properly. Like your Whoppers could be going bad. I don't know.
Well, but all of them are the same consistency, and then one of them
has Whopper containers that he can get you to keep them fresh.
I have a Whopper fridge. You can set like the whites and the reds.
You're right. Okay, maybe I've been keeping them stored at too high humidity.
Achilles mentions Rolo in chat. Like another candy. Like rarely do you think about it, but boy, when you do now, that's what I want to.
Okay, these are all really good choices, but they're just your candy choices just seem like really old school. Like I feel like these
I'm
candies,
an old person. Yeah.
These candies feel like what my grandpa would eat.
You ever heard of a Hershey bar?
Yes. Yes, the classic. RG producer Devin saying Christmas tree shaped Reese's way better than original Reese's. I mean, you're just more excited to eat it. It makes sense. All right. Hey. Oh, by the way, who's your hangbanger says Twix never gets any respect. I almost brought up Twix, but
they're on the list. Like Twix, Milky Way were kind of next in my. Maybe I should mention these. Yeah, Twix is fantastic.
Twix is really good.
Candy is fantastic. I think is the lesson here.
Yeah, I had brought up too many candies, so I didn't want to throw in another one. But yeah, shout out.
We can keep going. We can just do a whole other show about
we keep rolling. I have fun date plans with the lady. It is her birthday. So who's
keeping the sick kids?
We're gonna put them to sleep, and then the mom's coming over.
Okay.
So hopefully they sleep.
Good luck with that one.
Right, because otherwise, like she can't touch them. They're like these contagion bombs. So yeah, hopefully they go to sleep. Okay, we are gonna get on out of here. So for Cheese and for Squirrel and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.